Hello, everyone. Welcome to the conclusion of Week 5 here in the 13th season of Style. We have had some absolutely incredible matches over the last couple of weeks, not just to the World Championship, but right here in the Style League as well. Some really impressive performances from many different players across many different teams, and this matchup promises to be no different from those pulse-pounding games that we have been given. Tonight, our best of three will feature the Wildlife Esports Panthers, ranked 5, against the Madison Esports Badgers, ranked 4. Panthers have been on a bit of a tear so far this season, picking up wins in their first 3 matches with a very impressive 6-0 game score. The Badgers, on the other hand, untested so far in Season 13. They're taking the Rift for the first time tonight. And as you can see, guys, we're already well into the draft. Bringing you all of the action, I am, once again, Chris Crewman-Newman. And joining me tonight is the splendid Shinkari. What did we miss, Shinkari?
Well, so far, we've already had our first phase of bans come out here for Madison Esports and for Wildlife here. Talia, Graves, Renata Glass taken off the table here for Madison, and Yone, Syndra, and Lee Sin taken off for Wildlife here. Now, there's a lot of targeted bans and even some meta bans as well. Talia and Graves very hardly targeted here against Wildlife Esports here. It is Runeweaver's most played champion and Crawl's most played champions here as well. Renata Glass, you could argue it's a comfort pick for Jensen, but it is just a solid pick. We've been seeing it a whole lot at Worlds. We've been seeing it a whole lot in competitive play as well in amateurs. So taking that off the table is good. As on the other side, Lee Sin to being taken away from the Madison Esports. That's going to be a jungle. That's a comfort pick for them, as well as the Yone and Syndra. Been popping up a whole lot more. Remember, we're not on that Worlds patch anymore. We have that Syndra reworks, which is shown to be very powerful, and a lot of folks have gotten used to it. And that Syndra win rate on solo queue has jumped all the way up here. So taking that off the board, we're now done with our first phase of picks and bans here, and we got some pretty powerful picks for both sides here.
Absolutely. Thanks for getting us all caught up there, Shinkari. Definitely pretty interesting, the draft that's played out so far. Nothing too shocking, I think it's safe to say. You know, a lot of comfort picks getting banned away, as you discussed, and some relatively standard team comps that we're getting a look at so far. The Ezreal priority, a little bit interesting. And he's got quite a lot of front line to work with here, but I do think the Panthers are going to need a little bit more damage to round things out. Then, of course, Lucian Nami needs no introduction. And the Sejuani, I've been seeing quite a lot of play recently as well, and could still go into either the top lane or the jungle. Do you have a prediction? Where's that Sejuani going?
I think you already hit the nail on the head that we're not quite sure yet, and I think it's safe to say that this Sejuani should have an easy time into the Ornn as well, right? She has some solid base damages and, you know, is easy to gank for as well, right? She doesn't get completely rolled over by a lot of the strong base damages that Ornn does as well. And both of them scale pretty hard. Both of them want like a pretty easy lane for each other. So this Sejuani is still up in the air of where this is going to be. I don't think I think it's fine into the Ornn matchup here, but we don't exactly know where this Maokai is going either. You know, we've seen historically Maokai also a very flexible pick as well. We've seen him in the jungle, we've seen him in the top lane, we've seen him in the support role as well. And combined with his Ezreal, it's not awful. Wildlife Esports Panthers have confided in us that they are a big fan of poke compositions. So pairing Ezreal with Maokai here wouldn't be too far-fetched, but, you know, with this Bard hover here, a comfort pick for Jensen in the bot lane there. This is definitely going to be the lock-in, and yeah, more poke damage here for this bot lane.
Oh man, and you know, that's one way to approach the Lucian Nami, right? Is to actually just not approach them and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Jensen, I think the pick makes some sense. Going to be just doing making some chime noises and some other parts of the Rift that are most likely not going to be in the bottom lane. Now for the Badgers, rounding things out with the solo lanes, it is going to be the Aatrox for Rose, which means Sejuani going into the jungle, and Victor for Camp That Bush in the mid lane. And now for the mid lane counter pick on R5, what is Runeweaver going to go with?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see here. I think I do like that this is looking to be a pretty good lock-in here Aatrox really, really solid. It does confirm that the Sejuani is in the top lane here, and this is the pocket pick we've been waiting for. We discussed this a little bit. We also got some more information from Wildlife Esports Panthers, which, by the way, shout outs to Wildlife Esports Panthers, who messaged me like, I think it was about 4 hours ago or like 3.5 hours ago, and they were just like, hey, do you want to know about our team? And I'm just like, God, thank you. Wonderful. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Tell me everything. So now our cast gets to be just that much better. So if you want cool little tidbits to be announced on stream, all you have to do is just message us. So cool. Yeah, just keep that in mind. But this is a favored pick for Wildlife Esports Panthers here. Like we said, they like playing poke comps, they like playing with artillery mages, and they love to flex Ziggs. They love being able to throw them mid lane. They love being able to throw them into the AD carry role as well. So this is going over to Runeweaver in the mid lane there. Even though they don't have the Talia, this is still a very poke-heavy comp here, and they have a front line to really make sure that this Ezreal and Ziggs can just continue to fire out long-range abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. It does fit the theme of their team, right? How they like to play the game, and definitely want to echo that sentiment that you were just sharing with our viewers. That teams definitely should feel free to contact us with any kind of information that they would like the stream to be aware of. You know, maybe don't tell Shinkari all your secrets. In case you do want to.
My lips are rather loose once the cameras go on.
yes, but you know, we generally do appreciate that sort of thing, absolutely. And I was concerned over here for the Panthers that they were a little bit lacking when it comes to damage, but with the Ziggs to round things out there, I think my concerns have been abated pretty effectively there. And it does pair very well with the Ezreal, as you already discussed. You know, able to get out that long-range DPS, the Ornn and the Maokai going to be able to create all that space and provide that lockdown. The Bard ultimate as well, of course, can help to set up some of that long-range damage to be coming in. And over here on the other side for the Badgers, they feel like they have a very stock standard composition here. These are some extraordinarily meta picks that are just going to be looking to team fight mostly, and most likely play around objectives and lane priority and all that sort of thing. Is there one thing that I think I do find maybe the most interesting about these drafts is actually the Maokai flexed into the jungle. I feel like that's something that we actually haven't seen a ton of. The Maokai generally seems to be finding his way into the top lane more often than not, but the jungle tree this time around, Shinkari, blending in with those other trees, he'll be camouflaged a little bit better.
Yeah, of course.
But do you have maybe some more elaborate or specific thoughts on the Maokai jungle?
So I actually am a huge fan of the Maokai jungle. I love it a whole lot. I think his ganks are really easy to execute on. He's a solid champion that once he's given like that solo XP to get to level 6, his engages can happen from super far away, right? And the biggest thing for me is that Maokai's saplings, if used properly, and especially if you have a blue buff here to allow you to spam it, can give you just a lot of vision without needing to have the warding trinket, which a lot of junglers just kind of immediately get rid of the second that they drop their first ward. So Maokai can just kind of go around the map here and actively throw these saplings into bushes on the enemy side of the river and get vision onto where Tensive is going to be moving around the map with this Sejuani here, which is going to be very good. Keeping your eyes on a jungler that has some good early ganks with like Sejuani is going to be very vital for your team, especially one with a Ziggs and an Ezreal who are notorious for building tiers and want to hit that mid game with a power spike of a finished tier item.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a great call out. The fact that Maokai basically has a Scryer's Orb as one of his basic abilities is really going to be super, super helpful for trying to track that Sejuani, as you were saying. And also to just kind of set up picks. You know, when you have stuff like Ezreal and Ziggs, when you can get out all this damage from long range, you know, being able to just see somebody who's out of position, it could be especially significant in that context where you have the ability to sort of get out that damage from a safer distance.
Yeah, I think my only problem with the comp that Wildlife Esports Panthers have put together here is that their neutral objective damage, especially for like Dragon and for Baron, it's rather low, right?
Mm,
Ezreal will be doing the most amount of damage in my opinion, but it's nothing like a Caitlyn or a Jinx, something who can really wail on these neutral objectives here. They don't really have a Cho'Gath or a Nunu, something to really have like one big damage. So it's going to be interesting come this mid game here when they're fighting around these objectives. Wildlife Esports is going to have to get to a lot of these objectives first, set up their line of scrimmage, and make sure that they can force Madison Esports Badgers away from these particular objectives and be able to safely claim them for themselves because it's going to take them a while. So they're going to need a little bit more breathing room when they're looking to contest these dragons, these Rift Heralds, these Barons.
yeah, absolutely. Definitely agree there. And you know, if they do struggle to find those setups that you're talking about, I don't think that's necessarily cause for concern. You know, until those dragons start getting stacked up, because I do think the scaling is pretty reasonably strong over here for the Panthers. You already mentioned
Yeah.
the double tier stacking on both of the carries, and they do have an Ornn as well, obviously. So, going to be getting towards that late game, you know, pretty comfortably. They're not really gonna. Their composition isn't really going to fall off at any point necessarily.
Yeah.
Do you agree with my assessment of the scaling there? I mean, Victor
Yeah.
definitely scales pretty well. Also, Lucian is
Oh,
really no slouch, but
I definitely agree that the Panthers here are going to scale a lot better, right? Lucian's scaling has gotten better after they changed his ultimate to scale off of crit.
mhm,
So his
mhm.
late game is better than it was before. He didn't fall off as hard, but there's no way that you're going to tell me that this Lucian is going to be better later than an Ezreal. And Victor and Sejuani are their best scalers, right? Sejuani is a hyper carry in the sense that once she gets later into the game, the armor stat that she has goes through the roof. The resistances she gets are through the roof, right? She becomes a mega tank. She has solid damage. She has a lot of defensives. That's where she's going to shine, right? So it's really only two members of Madison Esport Badgers where for the Panthers, right? They got the Ezreal, they got the Ziggs, they have the Ornn, who's just basically turned the entire team into scalers.
Yeah. Well, Shinkari, we got just 1 minute left on the spectator delay here before we jump onto the Rift for game one. Before we go to break, I want to get a prediction from you. Do you favor one of these drafts? Do you think the Panthers are going to be able to keep up the win streak, or will their new opponent, the Badgers, showing their faces for the first time this season, be able to put a stop to their 6-game run?
I'm going to make the bold prediction that I think the Badgers are going to take game number one
Ooh.
here. I like their team composition a little bit more. It's a little bit more traditional, has better prio in the early phases with the Lucian Nami in the bot lane and with the Sejuani ganking around and Aatrox in the top. There's not really a weak side for them besides like mid, but even then, Victor still has some decent fight in the early game there.
All right, folks. Well, we'll see if they can do it. The Badgers, with their first outing, will be able to stem the tide coming through from the Panthers. It's going to be an absolute jungle out there, that's for sure. You don't want to miss this one. We'll be right back. welcome to Summoner's Rift, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else. We have the Badgers on the blue side, the Panthers on the red, but only one can be at the top of the food chain. We will find out who the true predator is at the end of tonight's match. For now, fairly calm opening. We're getting some sapling damage. Victor lands a laser. I believe that's going to be a Mana Flow band proc, and a little bit of money from the first strike as well. Pretty good start for camp there in the mid lane. Back stopped there for the Sejuani. I think she should be able to
Does he
make
do it again?
Oh,
There's no way he has it.
Oh,
There's no way he has it.
No! Oh, dear. Yeah, okay. So Tensive is going to have to go for his first clear here, starting at about 50% HP. Not ideal, but he will be able to get some healing from the Gromp. Shouldn't be the end of the world. Both junglers starting up there on the top side, Shinkari.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be so similar starts for them, so they're both going to be pathing their way down towards this bottom half of the map, which makes a lot of sense, right? If you have a Lucian Nami, that's a lot of power that you have early on in the game, so that means that you're going to have, you know, some fairly easy ganks to be set up for you as well. So this is a really good lane to gank, especially if they're going to be, especially if this Bard and Ezreal are looking to shove in as well. So we'll be taking our eyes down to that bottom lane in just a little bit here as we get some trading back and forth across the map. The top laners will finally meet each other, and yeah, this is the start of the game here.
I don't think we should be necessarily expecting all that much action in the early game here, Shinkari. Most of these lanes do kind of play themselves out pretty comfortably. I mean, Ornn is just going to be farming. Both of the mid laners really just want to farm for a while. That was a nice little Bellows Breath there. And use the Q to knock up.
Animosity is such a good job of immediately baiting out Poor Man Rose's sweet spot abilities, then immediately turning around and grabbing some positive trades for himself. And it's going to be really hard for Poor Man's Rose to match a lot of the healing here.
Maokai.
Jensen coming in from the side here.
Not going to be able to get the lockdown. The engage just not very dynamic from the jungler or the bot lane. But Crawl will find Tensive in the jungle. Crawl not on the right side of the map for this one. And he will have to flash away into the Dragon Pit to make sure that he can escape. Camp was starting to look like he might roam down from the mid lane there. So Crawl just elects to use the Summoner spell, gets himself out of dodge, and back to farming.
Yeah, it was a little greedy to look for that kind of fight there. Maokai not exactly the best fighter here, but bot lane.
Ezreal and Bard, very effective ignite comes down. He has to cleanse. The shift forward, can't quite find it. Has to flash away, and the first blood comes through for Bigos as the bloodthirsty fish. Ah, man, we were considering if the Badgers or the Panthers were the top predator, but it looks like we underestimated the mermaid.
Yeah, it looks like she's got a little bit of piranha in her as well as Jensen in some trouble here.
Nice, Portal. Just Bard things.
Hashtag
I guess Zeri can do it now too, but
yeah.
Anyways, really nice, honestly, from the bot lane of the Panthers, putting on a lot of pressure, but it was Big Ups who had the last laugh in the end. You know, first blood onto the Nami is not really going to be that big of a deal, most likely. I mean, of course, she doesn't mind having the gold, but would have been a lot worse for the side of the Panthers if John Coe had been able to pick up that money. But regardless, they will be able to get the wave shoved out on the side of the Badgers. They'll be able to get a reset for their bottom lane, and things look to be slowing down here once again.
Yeah, once again, I think this team just does... Oh, no, Jensen walking too far forward here.
Gets out with the portal again. He's been very quick with those, very on point with the Bard portals so far. The Mystical Journeys have been very enjoyable for Jensen.
Mm-hmm. The top. I mean, this is mostly what we're going to be seeing up in the top lane here. We've already seen Animosity play so well around a lot of the damage from Poor Man's Rose here. So I think for the most part, Animosity is going to be in kind of like a very solid spot for the Ornn here. I think the biggest thing is that, you know, Ornn gets so well timed with the fire breath into clap in order to get that oh my god, undying grasp of the undying
there it
proc
is
the I always want to say undying grasp, but it's grasp of the undying. Basically the same thing, but
yeah, we would have known what you meant.
Yeah. It's very well timed. So a lot of these very short, snappy engages here are very, very good for Animosity here. Just throw out a little bit of damage, get healed back from the damage you took from Aatrox, and then immediately go back to farming here. So that's going to be a pretty safe lane, like you said, up in the top lane here. But this bot lane,
Jonko dashing forward, but You Define Me is very comfortable, has the Arcane Shift to get himself out of danger there. And yeah, that's definitely a good call out on the Ornn playing very well. As we know this is a matchup that as we move later into the game, the Ornn is just going to get more and more comfortable. Although he is down a level, poor man's Rose has 6 right now. Could go for the World Ender, but Animosity dashes away. And we'll be safe for now, and this is looking like it might turn into a 50-50 as the Dragon is down to 2,000. Crawl pretty low. The Arctic Assault forward. He tries to dodge away with the Twisted Advance, but he's forced to back off from the Dragon. The Jungler falls, and Tensive able to lock down the objective with the Smite. A lot of kills already gone over, and You Define Me looking like he might be next. Trying to trade one back, and it will be Runeweaver picking up a kill onto the enemy support, but the AD carry also goes down. It's a double kill over to Camp on the Victor. Runeweaver trying to get out. Now a couple more auto attacks from the Sejuani. Flashing forward is Tensive to make sure that there's nowhere the Ziggs can go and camp that bush with the delayed triple 3-0 now on the Victor. Already had the Dark Seal, and he is going to be heavily accelerated.
Yeah, this is not exactly ideal coming at the end of that. They lose the Drake. They're able to trade some kills back and forth, but okay, wait a minute. Is Animosity in some trouble up here? Are you okay? Okay, you're fine. He's fine. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't tell mom. This is not looking so good. Camp that bush. Getting 3 kills here is a lot of stacks also for Victor's passive as well. It's going to be upgrading.
No, Jensen. Oh, he wasn't able to dodge the bubble, and Jonko is going to pick up the second for himself. Lucian so strong at this point in the game, and Jensen just not able to dance around the bubble that time around.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly why I said I favored the Badgers kind of early on here. Like, they have a lot of priority in this early game here. And not only that, you know, this Victor is nothing to sneeze at in the early game, right? Like, he might not be like a powerhouse in the early game, but it's not like he isn't a champion yet, like something like a Kale, right? Until he hits a certain level. Now, we've got a gank in the bot lane here. We got a magical journey. Big O's might be in some trouble.
Jensen looking for the binding. Can't find it, though. The Mermaid is able to swim away. Flashes away there. Oh, but I believe that was just a bouncing bomb, actually, that got the last hit. But regardless, Runeweaver picks up his second of the game and tries to bring the Panthers back towards parity. They're down 2,000 gold here at 8 minutes. It's a pretty significant deficit for this point in the game. Victor able to secure a plate there in the mid lane, able to punish Runeweaver a little bit for that roam down towards the bottom side, and able to further accelerate himself. Got to be closing in on that Mythic. Most likely going to be the Leandres for Camp the Bush, and he's going to be doing a lot of damage to the front line. But here comes the Nature's Grasp. Procrawl wants to try and make his way towards the enemy mid laner. The Magical Journey will get him there. Able to lock down the Victor with Twisted Advance. The Bramble Smash to get him back towards the Ziggs, and the bombs come raining down. The shutdown comes through for Runeweaver, and now the Ziggs with all of that shutdown gold is going to be able to get towards his first item as well.
Yeah, this is another point that was brought to this is our last tidbit of wait, Animosity's in some trouble here.
Flash away, and he has the Searing Charge to get towards the turret. Just able to burn the Summoner spell off the top laner there. Jonko looking aggressively down here in bot lane. Also throws out the culling, pushes Ezreal back, and there's going to be another turret plate going over to the Lucian also. So that was a really big win for the side of the Panthers, able to get that shutdown onto the mid laner, but it still seems like the Badgers have a decent amount of control here over the map. Here comes Aatrox over the wall, going to pop the World Ender, and he's got plenty of damage. Crawl immediately has to flash out of there, but here comes Ornn from the top side. The Forge God comes out, able to push back the Badgers. Arrow going to reset soon. The Ziggs Bomb comes out, but it's the Victor Chaos Storm that secures the first kill of the fight, and it will be the side of the Badgers that get the objective as well. They get 2 quick kills, and Runeweaver doesn't have his satchel. There's no way out for the little explosive Yordle. He's going to get cleaned up. Crawls on the wrong side of the map, and the Death Ray will finish him off. Camp that Bush picks up number 5, 3-0 in the top side river, and the Badgers are in full control.
Yeah, the Badgers once again getting a solid, just waiting for Wildlife to just kind of pull there, just like, hey, thanks for the leash again. And they can't quite find these solid fights early on, but they're forcing it every time. They have their whole team has tiers. Their whole team has a tier of the goddess. Every single person except for Bard has a tier of the goddess, and they're just like, yes, let's gather up 5v5. Let's contest these early objectives. Let it go. Let it go. Don't do it. Stop it.
I mean, they thought they could because they got the kill on the mid laner, right? Because they took out the Victor. They felt like they were going to be powerful enough, they were going to be strong enough with the numbers advantage to force down the objective. But this does go back actually to something else that you talked about earlier, Shinkari. Is the damage to neutral objectives from this composition is just really slow. It just takes them a long time to do the Rift Heralds, and it's enough time like bought by Tensive, and I believe Bigos was actually up there on the Nami as well. They stalled long enough. Victor respawned, made his way back up towards the fight, and was able to pick up that decisive win for the Badgers. Now we've got the second Dragon of the game on the Rift right now. Teams starting to fight over vision control in the river, Shinkari. And I mean, we were just talking about, you were just illustrating that point with all of those tiers of the goddess. Do you think they should be trying to contest this dragon at all?
I mean, they're down a significant amount of gold, too.
Oh, dear.
No.
The Glacial Prison, the jungler looking like he is slated to fall here. The Ziggs Bomb comes down. A lot of damage onto the Victor. Camp barely able to make his way out. The Bard ultimate does come down. Runeweaver tosses out the bomb, but it's sidestepped. The timing not quite there between the mid support of the Panthers, and they're both going to get taken down. It's 3 more kills. It's the Herald dropped in the mid lane. The tower is going to be going down. The Dragon's going to be going over. It's looking like all Badgers here in game 1. That was very close. That was a little bit of a clincher as the True Shot Barrage does connect. But still, so much damage was just done to the Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers here, like, they're playing, oh no, You Define Me is in a whole lot of trouble here.
That was the flash out of the turret. Jonko able to finish him off with the last couple shots from the culling. Jensen does not land the binding, and Tensive easily slides over the wall. Jensen on the chase, though, wants to still get something, but they're in at 2v3. They've got the jungler coming, though. Crawl through the bot side jungle. They're able to finish off the enemy support, and now Tensive is the one who finds himself outnumbered. Sejuani forced to make her way out of the fight, but now Camp has made his way in here. The Leandri's complete, plus a rod on top. He is going to be absolutely pumping out the DPS, has the blue buff even. Easily pushes back the Panthers and maintains control here in the bot side river.
Yeah, I love the aggression from Jensen here. It's just not every time it's as successful as his team would like. So Jensen here, I love how well he's been playing the Bard and how aggressive he's been using these magical journeys to try to find new angles to attack the enemy team. The problem is that kind of cuteness isn't really going to be able to get you big leads unless you have a massive numbers advantage, because you're down 7,000 gold at 13 minutes. That is nothing to sneeze at here. As now, oh, they're in trouble one more time.
So he's got a journey. He's got a portal. Ezreal makes his way back towards the turret. He's fine. Rose up here in the top lane, continuing to wail on the Ornn, and Ornn is really just continuing to not care about it very much. He's fighting back very comfortably, gets himself a nice little grasp proc on the end there, and both top laners down to about 50%. Crawl, seeing if he can make any kind of impact up here. He does not want to fight for this dragon that's currently being taken by Tensive. Will be 2 dragons plus that first herald, all 3 neutrals so far, going the way of the Badgers, in addition to that massive gold lead that you just pointed out for us, Shinkari. And it is going to be, looks like, an Infernal Soul here for game number 1, something that I'm sure the Badgers are very happy to see.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are super happy about this, right? They're both high damage. Wait a minute, Bigos in some trouble here.
Oh, yeah, that's the Bard and the Ezreal are so mobile, right? Bigos didn't even realize he was in danger until it was too late. It's another binding, connecting. Jonko dashing away now. His fate will not be tempered as he dashes out of that Bard ultimate. And it will just be the 1 kill. Nice pickup from the Ezreal Bard down here. Ooh, that was a nice dodge with the Twisted Advance. Dodges away from the Q3 from the Aatrox, but Victor, oh, he's here, so you got to get out. Maokai forced to run. Oh, the Glacial Prison connects onto the Ornn, and the health bar is just gone. He is not going to be able to call upon the Forge God. Crawl barely able to limp his way back towards the base. And yeah, gold lead gonna be extending here a little bit further. Shinkari, Runeweaver tried to match the roam, but the Ziggs just does not have the same impact right now.
Yeah, for sure. As you know, I want to point out some items here that I'm not exactly happy about. We're seeing an Essence Reaver coming out for the Ezreal, which means we're probably going to see a Duskblade of Drakthar come out, maybe an Eclipse. And, you know, that item's really good if you're ahead, right? And if you don't exactly have a lead at this point, it does make Ezreal's Qs very, very powerful. Let's be clear, Duskblade of Drakthar build for Ezreal is certainly not bad. But man, when you have a team that's already super far ahead and you're trying to get into a Duskblade of Drakthar build at this stage, like that is such an expensive build, right? You have to get the Essence Reaver. He's got the tier fully stacked now. That's going to be a Muramana in a bit. And, you know, he's going to have to turn that into something else, right? And it's going to take way too long. And by that time, you know, the enemy team could be sitting on a lot more armor here. But, you know, luckily for them, I don't think there's a bit of armor on that team right now. So
Bubble connects. That's a lot of damage. Glacial Prison comes down into the tidal wave, into the dead top laner. Everything in the kitchen sink just thrown at Animosity there, and he is not going to be very happy about that. Finds himself in the death chamber, and Runeweaver might be joining him very, very soon. He flashes away. His jungler is here. Crawl going to be able to peel for the Ziggs. But that is just Camp getting a summoner spell for free. Define Me now in some trouble, flashing away from the Aatrox. But poor man's Rose got the movement speed. Crawl is like, oh my goodness, I gotta peel for everybody at the same time. I just can't be everywhere, guys. Perfectly illustrated by the Rift Herald crashing into the inhibitor turret up there in top lane. Shinkari, it seems like everywhere on the map, Badgers just continue to find advantages.
Yeah, this team is just so far ahead right now. We're starting to see these tier items finally being cashed in here. Muramana completed for the Ezreal, and then Seraph's Embrace nearly finished for the Ziggs in the mid lane here, but it might just be a little too late. Like, these are some pretty big item spikes here, but is it enough? But I don't think it's enough to kind of get past this deficit of nearly 9,000 gold right now. Like, this is getting to an insurmountable gold lead here that they're going to need ornaments yesterday in order to even get close to the amount of gold through just these item spikes alone, right? Like, this is still a long way to go. They're down CS in nearly every single lane. They're down kills out the wazoo. It's really, really hard for Wildlife Esports Panthers here to really find footing in this game, especially with how much ground they've lost as well.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of a silver lining here, Shinkari. We do see... Oh, okay, you Define Me able to react in time, dodges away from the Sejuani ultimate, but they have pushed back the Ezreal. Dragon spawning in under a minute, and this should be Infernal Soul Point collected fairly soon here. But as I was about to say, Ezreal and Ziggs both do have their 2 items. They finished the tier item completions there for both of the carries, so they could theoretically find their way into a position where a fight looks somewhat winnable. But easier said than done, certainly, when the team, as you said, overall is still so far behind. Separate Fate comes out, not able to find the mark. Now the Nature's Grasp will lock down the Victor. The Ziggs ult over the top. All the Fortune comes down, and Camp gets shut down right at the start. It looks like they're going to lose the jungler in return, though. So a 1-for-1 to start things off. Poor man's Rose over the wall with the Blast Cone. Flashing forward is Tensive. Gets the lockdown onto Jensen. The culling. Oh, one more bullet would have finished off the Ezreal there, but he's just barely able to shift away in time. Tensive takes a tower shot on his way out. Still a 1-for-1. Lots of abilities used from both sides. And it looks like the call from the Badgers will be to back off towards the objective.
Yeah, I think this is a solid call here, and it's ultimately going to be... Oh, no, Runeweaver.
Dashing forward. Runeweaver walking in blind, and John Coe was waiting for him with a bullet.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say that this was going to be a trade that was very advantageous for the Panthers here, but oh no.
Animosity, now he shorts the charge. Is he going to get run down? The Gale Force in, and John Coe finds the kill. But Maokai is there for the punish potentially, but no. The Nami support is there. Big O's keeps his AD carry alive. John Coe picks up number 7 and walks away.
Yeah, Man, just as I was about to say something good for the Panthers here, I was like, yeah, that trade was really favorable for them. They went 1-for-1. They didn't really lose a turret. They didn't lose anyone else. They were able to eat a bunch of ultimates and not die. This, like, they got a shutdown. This is good. Very easy. Then Runeweaver goes too far forward, and Animosity is trying to ward and walking on top of wards, and man, it just fell apart really hard after that. You knew that they were going to lose the Drake already. They were way too far away to contest it easily. And, you know, once again, they're still down gold, but now that gold difference is nearly 10,000. I believe it's like 9.3 thousand, 9.6 in the favor of Madison Esports right now. It's just it's getting to the insurmountable amount of gold that you just
absolutely.
Yeah, okay, crawl's in some trouble.
He sure is, Shinkari, and trouble that might actually be understating a little bit. He is in fact in the dirt at the moment. Usually the tree only wants part of himself to be in the dirt and not the entirety of himself, but that is where he will be for the next 20 seconds, and Baron is looking like it's going to go down here as well. No smite to contest for the Panthers. Animosity is just going to throw out a Call of the Forge God there. He's going to send off a prayer, but it will not be answered as Tensive nails the smite, and Camp the Bush nails the Ezreal with a lot of damage. You Define Me will survive for now, but the tower in the bot lane will also get picked up as Runeweaver able to get a little bit of split pushing done there. Gets a small amount of gold back, but the base is going to have a hard time standing up to this next push coming in from the Badgers.
Yeah, they got nearly 1,000 gold off of just that play alone, and a lot of that time was spent just making sure that the enemy team didn't back and kill the Ziggs. And I think at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, sure, we won't back. We'll just continue to force these fights. And now, like, after that turret has been claimed, it's like those objective bounties just didn't do anything because this gold is still 10,000 in the lead.
Animosity finds a knockup. A lot of damage from the Ziggs as he throws out the Inferno. A bomb. Nature's Grasp will catch the fish. The fish has been caught. The flash over the bubble for Animosity finds the kill, but he trades himself as John Coe gets him back. The Gale Force Waves interrupted with the Satchel Charge, and Ziggs will pick himself up another shutdown. It's Camp the Bush looking for a kill onto the enemy support, but won't be able to find it. And that is 1 kill, 2-1. In favor of the Panthers up there in the top lane as they find the bot lane a little bit overextended.
Yeah, I mean, this is still 9.5 thousand gold in the lead. If Wildlife Esports Panthers wants to win this game, it will take a comedy of errors from the Badgers here in order to turn it around, right? And, you know, usually I don't like, you know, being too harsh about this, but like once it hits like the 10,000 gold mark, even like the high 9,000 gold difference, like, this game is so hard to win. That's what I'm trying to illustrate here. It's just really, really hard to come back from such a deficit like this. Now, granted, they're catching back up in CS here. The Animosity is really the only person who's been down in levels, and that's possibly the worst person to have it on as well. We have 1:15 on the next Drake, and that's gonna have to be contested here. And I don't think this is looking advantageous for the Panthers here unless they get a Hail Mary play.
We're going to have another fight breaking out here potentially. Jensen does not have any journeys available. He used up all his vacation days, and now he's just going to have to suffer. And that's a bubble landing onto the jungler as well. Crawl forced to go back in, and he will not be coming out as the Arctic charge forward for Tensive, looking for a little bit more. Ornn charging away, keeping himself alive for now. Good damage onto the Lucian. John Coe. Pretty low. Mega Inferno Bomb from Runeweaver is available. Could toss it out there if he sees an angle that he likes. Good damage now back onto the Ezreal as well. Dragon out alive for 30 seconds still. Mega Inferno Bomb comes out. Victor forced to move back forward, and they get him. They get the mid laner. Chaos Storm still doing some work, though. Forces the flash. Oh, man. Camp the Bush from the grave gets the flash off the enemy marksman player. But that does mean it's going to be a 5v4 on the map in favor of the Panthers for the next 30 seconds or so. Jensen needs to be careful unless he wants to go right back into the death chamber, and there he goes. He will not be able to temper that fate either, as Tensive on the hunt throws out the Glacial Prison. Not quite able to find it, but they will find the enemy top laner. He has nowhere to go. He's going to get taken out. This has devolved into a very chaotic map state as there's just kind of
no.
fights happening all over the place. Jonko flashing forward, gets the kill on the enemy marksman. He's exhausted, gets the kill through the exhaust, but he's not able to get away from that last tower shot, and he will get shut down by the tree. And after all of that, it still is going to be the Badgers picking up the objective. Mega Inferno Bomb, extremely low cooldown at this point in the game. Get some vision of what's happening here, but it will be secured. Crawl not able to make his way over there in time. And that is the Infernal Soul locked away for the Badgers, able to extend the gold lead even further, Shinkari. And you were already saying how impossible this game state is to play out for the Panthers. That's pretty much what we just witnessed. It's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, it's tough because a lot of these fights that they've been trying to look for have been so spread out for the Panthers here. The value of a pick comp is being grouped as 5. They're a team fighting comp, right? They want to play very reactive. They want to get to places first. They want to be able to really just poke people out and make sure that they can finish them off if they decide to engage, right? But a lot of these cases, the Panthers have never been able to group fully as 5 in some of these cases, and they set themselves back with a lot of these tier items in the early game, and now they're paying for it now. As you know, the difference between these two teams is now nearly 12,000 gold. You know, it's an amount that they're still able to fight through and find some kills here and there because their damage still needs to be respected, but they're just not getting advantageous fights for themselves. They're just finding stray picks, which isn't a way to win this game. It's just a way to not lose.
Yeah, I mean, Shinkari, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head there about the team compositions. What the Panthers need more than anything is time, right? Like we hit on it earlier. You can see it in the way that these fights are playing out and what Ezreal and Ziggs want to do. They want to be able to just spam those skill shots over and over and over again, chip away at those health bars until you're in a position where you can look to move forward and start controlling space and threatening kills. But the fact that Camp got so far ahead so early on the Victor, and the fact that Lucian and Nami are going to do Lucian Nami things means that people are just getting blown up before they have a chance to use any skill shots. Like, Ezreal gets off one Mystic shot, and then he has to sprint back towards his own fountain where he's just going to die. As poor man's Rose level 16 now on the Aatrox, pushing up in the side lane. Tensive looking for the engage once again. Tidal Wave comes out, pushes them back. Jensen, magical journey away. Crowcrawl forced to flash. It's full retreat for the Panthers. Ziggs gets himself away with the satchel charge for the Bard. Will fall. The Ziggs will fall. Double kill for the Lucian and Animosity. And you define me the last ones standing. Poor man's Rose just taking out turrets in the side lane here. Flashing underneath the Nexus towers. Not quite able to finish off anybody else. But I think the Nexus might be the next target here. 4v2. The Victor did fall, and he does have teleport though when he respawns. So I think this could be the end, Shinkari.
Yeah, it's looking like it. He's just going to use that teleport to keep the minion alive as well. Jonko finds an easy
in the
kill.
fountain.
Animosity is going to go down as well. It's just, okay, well, Jensen is just going to BM just a little bit. It's like, no, I can fix her. I can fix her. It's fine.
Does he get the Nami too? Burning down? No, the heal comes through for Bigos. The last Nexus turret is going to fall here, but Crawl not willing to say die just yet with Rune Weaver. Oh, he gets locked down by the Glacial Prison. Gets taken out once again. The Maokai can't do anything here, and it will be the Nexus falling in under 30 minutes. The Badgers take a convincing victory in their first game of Season 13.
Yeah, and they also knock down the undefeated game streak of the Wildlife Esports Panthers here, and that's kind of the big thing for me. Not only did they show up in their first game in Style Esports, but they showed up against one of the teams that has been going undefeated, not only in matches, but in games as well. And they did it in a real convincing fashion. They saw the poke comps on the enemy side. They saw how many tiers they were building. And they're just like, all right, nice tiers. We're going to end this game up real quick. So by the time those are finished, they're not even going to matter.
Those tears of the goddess turned into real tears falling down the faces of the Panthers real quickly, as they were not able to take advantage of their poke. They were not able to use the scaling elements in their composition effectively, as the Badgers just snowballed the game way out of control. Jonko and Camp That Bush popping off on the Lucian and the Victor, respectively. Tensive with some phenomenal engages on the Sejuani. And of course, Poor Man's Rose holding it down in the top lane, and Big Ghost with some incredible support plays. Strong performances across the board. And for the side of the Panthers, I mean, this has got to be a little bit jarring, right? You just mentioned, correctly, of course, that this is their first loss, their first game loss of the season. So they're going to have to adapt for the first time this season. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board and be like, all right, we gotta come up with something else. This strategy is not working for us. You know, we like to play these weak side bottom lanes, these artillery compositions with long range damage. But if we can't hang in the early game with that kind of composition, we're gonna have to do something else.
Mm-hmm. For sure here.
Who was your MVP from that game one, Shinkar? Yeah, it's a tough
MVP?
call. We had a lot of good performances here. Who was your standout player from the side of the Badgers?
I mean, I have to throw it out to Tensive here. Tensive is all over the map, and his glacial prisons were on point every single time. He was really, really good at clearing that jungle early, being in everywhere in the map, and you know, was it crucial to a lot of these early game plays where the Panthers were like, "Hey, this is our objective. We're going to claim it. Nah, I'm going to swing right through, pick up the steal." And, you know, that was able to carry them through a lot of very solid early game victories as well.
Yeah, I mean, 3-0-21 on the Sejuani. Really, really incredible scoreline there. The 24.0 KDA. You love to see it from one jungle main to another. Very nice. Well done. And really setting up the team for success there. But don't go anywhere, folks. We will watch the Badgers and the Panthers do battle right here once again, only on the Discovery Channel. We'll be right back. Okay, everyone, welcome back. The Panthers, after their defeat in the first game, have elected to remain on the red side. They want to hang on to that R5 counter pick, maybe do something a little bit different with it this time. That does, of course, mean that the Badgers will be returning to the blue side. Taking a look at the bands, we're already into the drafting here. Of course, from the Badgers, they did not change up those bands from game one whatsoever. Going to ban away exactly the same three champions. Will we see the Syndra be the last ban from the Panthers here in the first phase, or do they feel like something that was pulled out by the Badgers in the previous game was an especially big problem, something that they have to deal with? Gonna be the Syndra ban again, so exact same bans, Shinkari, as game number one.
Yeah, it seems a little bit odd. I feel like this they might be valuing the Yone and the Lee Sin maybe a little too high here, right? I think they might be just defaulting to like, hey, we still want to play the poke comp, we still want to play the artillery mage comp, and Lee Sin being able to dive us so easily is gonna be, and even able to disrupt our team is gonna be way too bothersome for us. We know that the team doesn't play Azir, so just taking that off the table here for Tensivs is good. But man, the Sejuani play was so good last time, and Glacial Prison is just so disruptive to the idea of a long range comp that like it's just really, really tough to kind of let that through, and giving it away for first pick as well is really sad here as we
okay,
I don't know if we're getting the artillery mage comp one more time, but we are getting a Kayn and an Aphelios.
Yeah, so this is absolutely going to be a different look for the Panthers this time around. Tensiv on the Sejuani again is absolutely a frightening prospect for any Panthers fans out there, but rest assured knowing that they have a very different strategy in mind this time around to try and take it down. It's not going to be the Zeri. That was a troll hover for sure. It is, in fact, the Kaisa, which was almost banned away by the Panthers, but they wanted to go ahead and ban away the Syndra instead. And now we will see John Ko on the Kaisa.
Yeah, John Ko is a bit of a flex player, plays a little bit of jungle as well, but across their history here, they definitely love these high mobility champions here. So locking in the Kaisa, bit of a comfort pick here for them here, and synergizes really well with a lot of the high CC that they've been putting together. And speaking of high CC, I mean high Cs even, as the Nautilus is going to be locked in here. This is a pretty standard lane for the Kaisa here, and now all that's left is that Madison Esports Badgers can just fill in these last two slots with just insanely high damage top laner and mid laner here for Camp That Bush and Poor Man's Rose here.
Yeah, Aatrox still available for the Rose if he wants to go back on that one. Pairs great with the Sejuani, of course, as we just saw in that previous game. And Camp That Bush, I'm sure, could go back to the Victor again if he wanted to. It really did pop off in game number one, or if he wants to go for something else. I'm sure he's got more things in his bag of tricks. We've got some absolutely classic bot lane pairings here for this one, Shinkari. Kaisa Nautilus against Aphelios Thresh. How do you expect that lane to play out?
I think it's going to be pretty bloody. Aphelios is kind of deceptive with how well he's able to fight early. Like the red gun is really good, and when paired with a lot of the talents, the masteries rather, or the runes, whatever you want to call them, gives him a lot of actually really good fighting pressure just because of how much he heals early on and how powerful that is. And I actually have think that people really underrate the purple gun. Blue purple is insane with the amount of CC that you're able to put out here. Like the roots end up being insanely powerful to help your team finish off a lot of these kills here. But we see in the second half of the picks and bans here, Tryndamere, that's being hovered. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Lots of options from the top lane were removed from the pool with that second phase of bans. It will be the Tryndamere. You're excited to see this one, Shinkari?
No, I'm actually not. I hate Tryndamere, man. So the reason I don't hate it is because, like I said before, this Madison, with the way the Badgers have drafted Sejuani and Nautilus, they have such high CC. They really only need to lock in characters that have just super high damage for these final slots here, and they'll be perfectly fine. And Tryndamere does exactly that. The problem is they've drafted a pretty heavy team fighting composition, and Tryndamere just doesn't want to do any of that. Tryndamere doesn't play with the team. He doesn't play League of Legends. He plays Tryndamere, right? He plays Tryndamere. He's going to be, a lot of the times, these Tryndamere players will just split push every single lane for all eternity, right? And so now, while Panthers have to be able to answer this here and pick a champion who can match these Tryndamere in the side lanes and continue this fighting here, but the Swain lock-in, I like that one a whole lot.
Okay, well, it's into the Cassio, so it's going to be Camp the Bush on the Cassio this time around. Could have gone back to the Victor, wanted to do something a little bit different, so he's going to have a little bit shorter range here, but of course still going to have plenty of damage coming out of that mid lane for the Badgers. And talk to us a little bit more now about that R5 pick, the Swain for Rune Weaver into the Cassio, going into the mid lane. What do we think about that matchup?
So, so into the matchup here, I think it's pretty good, mostly post 6. And then this is a lot I have to say about Swain in general post rework. He's if for folks who play World of Warcraft, you might get this this reference here, but Swain is very much like a fire mage, right? Fire mages in World of Warcraft are very good, but they have this one ability called combustion. And while they have combustion active, they are insanely powerful. They have crits out the wazoo. They have instant casts on some of their best abilities, but every single time that they're not combusting, they're not so great. And it feels like that's the way for the new Swain here. He's very ultimate dependent. Now, in the matchup against Cassiopeia post level 6, Cassiopeia famously very low range, wants a very wants a long fight, right? Wants to spam out those twin fangs for as long as possible. That's why she's one of the only mages that grabs Conqueror. But Swain also really likes people being in short range and wants long fights, right? And he's going to be able to heal through a lot of that damage. So Cassiopeia wants to be successful in that lane. Camp that bush might just have to pay the 800 gold tax.
The 800 gold tax being
picking up grievous wounds.
Of course. Yes, okay. That does make sense. Yeah, I think you're probably going to get some value into the Kayn here as well. I do think it is a time to discuss the Kayn in the room. Crawl doing something a little bit different. Certainly, you know, a very big departure from something like the Maokai that we saw him on in the previous game. And it was a very early lock-in in the draft as well, right? So he clearly it's either a comfort pick or he's got some kind of plan with this Kayn. Which form do you think he's going to go to? Where do you think he's going to prioritize in the early game?
Well, since there's kind of a lack of ranged characters, I think we might end up just having a red Kayn, and I think that's perfectly fine. Madison Esports is really, really short range and has a decent chunk, and it has 3 like big, wants long fights tanks in the front line. Tryndamere technically counts for this as well because he's going to be living a long time. So this is really good for Kayn to just kind of wail on these big tanks, heal up past their tankiness and be able to fight through it. So Rost here is going to be very good. And I think the Kayn lock-in, especially for round 1, is rather safe, especially after seeing the Sejuani locked in, right? Poor Man's Rose doesn't really play Sejuani, so that's going to go over to Tensive for sure, especially after that last game. And Kayn's biggest weakness is being counter-jungled, but Tensive very rarely cross the side of the river in order to counter-jungle Crawl on the other side here. So Kayn really will be able to either force Tensive to go to the other side of the map or just be able to clear his camps fast enough and be relatively safe.
Yeah, definitely. Going to be interesting to see what he decides to go for. Kayn is one of those champions that is extremely flexible in how he can play out the game, particularly the early game, right? He can start on a number of different camps, you know, depending on the form you're trying to go for. You know, that does dictate a little bit of your early pathing, but certainly lots of options for Crawl, and Tensive, you know, mostly, as you just said, going to be wanting to avoid that Kayn, not going to be wanting to give him any red orbs to, you know, accelerate the transformation or anything like that. So probably going to be looking for some cross-map plays. Could give the side of the Panthers a little bit more space here in the early game to try and get themselves into a comfortable position where they're going to be able to contest in the team fights a little bit better when they're not down a whole bunch of gold. But the last lane that I think need to touch on is the top lane up there. You already discussed a little bit how Tryndamere doesn't want to be doing much team fighting, how he's going to be off split pushing for the majority of the game, most likely. And Mordekaiser does feel like he might struggle a little bit in stopping that split push. He has the ultimate to, try to deny any potential team ups between the Tryndamere and the Sejuani, but I'm not sure if he can convincingly win that 1v1 against Tryndamere. What do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, it's a little awkward too, because Mordekaiser really wants to go into those 1v1s and be able to come out of those 1v1s with stats. The problem is Tryndamere will make these 1v1s really, really bad for Mordekaiser for two reasons. One, Tryndamere already wants a 1v1. He doesn't want anyone else to show up, right? He doesn't, obviously if Sejuani shows up, that's going to be advantageous for Tryndamere, right? That's great for him. He's going to have a little bit more CC, and also he can stack up Sejuani passive, but he wants a 1v1. Mordekaiser's like, haha, you're now trapped in here with me. But then Tryndamere just starts screaming and starts, wailing on him. And he's just like, actually, you're trapped in there with the Tryndamere. Right? So Mordekaiser might also have to pay the 800 gold tax and pick up a Bramble Vest in order to just not to deny healing from Tryndamere, but to at least match his damage with all the attack speed he's going to be building.
Yeah, well, Badgers, Panthers, I think not necessarily all that accustomed to paying taxes. They generally don't participate in society in that way, but we'll see if they are a little bit more upstanding creatures this time around. But Shinkari, we are under a minute left on that spectator delay, so I'm once again going to ask for a prediction from you. It seems from our discussion so far that you might be a little bit favored towards the Panthers composition. Am I correct in that assertion?
Yeah, I think they actually have a good comp to kind of counter a lot of the short range and melee champions that the Badgers have put together here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how you Define Me and Jensen. They're going to be kind of the biggest players here. Aphelios is a hyper carry. I'm expecting a lot of attention down in this bottom half of the map here. And this Swain is going to really be able to abuse a lot of these folks who are just going to sit in his range for a very long time. So I'm excited. I want the Panthers to win this. I want to see a game 3. I want to see them continue their undefeated streak. I'm loving their comp as well. So I think this time I'm going to favor the Panthers.
We'll see if they can do it. As my co-caster just mentioned, the undefeated match streak is still alive. If they can pull out the next 2 games, the Panthers would move to 4-0 in terms of match score this season. We'll see if they can do it. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us as we return to the Rift for our second game of the night. The Badgers, Madison, returning to the blue side, and the Panthers, of course, returning to the red. They're going for a little bit of an invade here on both sides. Top side invade for the Badgers. Panthers making their way into the bot side jungle. Oh, neither squad going to find the other. And looks like we will have some time here, Shinkari, if there are any runes or summoner spells you'd like to discuss.
Yeah, I think the one we were just talking about was Tensive bringing up the phase rush here, and I think that's pretty good if he wants to just stick to the targets and make sure that he can, get off those Sejuani procs. He's got a whole lot in the movement speed. He has Nimbus Cloak, he's got Celerity, he's got Water Walking, so we're going to see a lot of Tensive, and he's going to be roaming around this map really, really fast. I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see. Typically, we see like Aftershock, which I personally like a little bit more for Sejuani. You do get those extra resistances while Aftershock is procced, and then you get a little bit of extra damage at the tail end of it as well. So I like it a little bit more because of that reason, but that's why they're playing, and I'm saying words.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it all does play out. I think the phase rush on the Sejuani does make sense in the context of these team compositions because once you get your engage off, you really are not going to want to be in range of Rost or of Swain, as they're just going to keep drain tanking you. So able to get out of there, possibly reset the Swain ult, as you were saying earlier, once that Demonic Ascension fades away, he's much less threatening. So I think it does make some sense, but we'll have to see how it plays out for him. As Runeweaver is off to a great start here in the mid lane. Nailed his first two never moves back-to-back. Got able to get a couple of stacks in the Swain passive nice and early here. We do have the level 2 advantage for Jonko and Bigos down here. It's the Felios will be ticking over and just a couple more minions, I'm sure. There it is.
Yeah, for sure. I already like this kind of aggression coming out from Jensen early. A very aggressive player. We saw him on the Bard as well. And putting him on the Thresh here, I think is a lot better. I like having the aggression out on Thresh here. Very strong level 2 is Runeweaver.
Ooh, flash out of the Swain. Nice and early. Tensive wanting to get the stun. Not able to find the last auto attack, though. Does dodge away from the never move. So not going to give over another stack or anything like that. Here comes poor man's Rose. The spinning slash in gets pulled back by the Death's Grasp. Animosity seeming like maybe he actually did want that. And it is a pretty even trade between the two. No flash on the Runeweaver. Intensive still had his absolutely flawless play from the Badgers jungler. And the flash forward for poor man now. It's the 2-0. 3.5 minutes into the game, Shinkari. And the Badgers, they're just not taking their foot off the gas for even a moment.
Yeah, I do not like this Doran's Ring start for the Mordekaiser here. It's just you're walking into a lane against Tryndamere, and auto attackers are just so much better than mages early. And even though Mordekaiser is kind of like a 50-50, he's not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Tryndamere early. Yeah. So the Doran's Ring helped him in some of those cases where like Tryndamere was like, okay, I'm done with my trade, I'm going to walk away, and then took ticking damage from that AoE that you see around Mordekaiser. But it's really not going to be able to help him in this lane. It's not going to help him in the matchup.
Dear.
Oh
the
my
Jensen
God.
Flash Flay, not able to land the death sentence, though. If he had connected the death sentence as well after the flash, that would have been a kill onto the mid laner for sure. Good attempt from the Panthers, but they just weren't quite able to find it.
Yeah, and this is kind of what they said to us kind of before the match started, is that they really like to make plays with the mid, jungle, and support roaming around the map here. So that's kind of what we saw in the last game with the Bard. That's what we're seeing here with Jensen as well. Yeah. I would honestly really like it if Jensen just rushed mobility.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense in the context of how they want to play the game, and the fact that you have, the Kayn and the Swain that are going to be wanting to scrap pretty early on. Getting Thresh to be zooming around the map, trying to match Tensive, right? Because he's got the move speed as well. But if Thresh is always there to counter the play, then maybe that could work out well for the Panthers. The first dragon just spawned here onto the Rift, Shinkari. It's going to be an Ocean to start things off here for Game 2. And with this small lead that the Badgers have built up for themselves already, I wonder they're going to want to make an early move towards this objective. Cassio does take neutrals extremely quickly. They're going to have to dodge from this play in the bot lane first. Jensen going to be looking for the death sentence. Jonko with a nice sidestep. Dodges away from the flay as well. The Gravitum connects. I think if You Define Me had started that one off with the Gravitum, maybe he could have looked better, but Jensen now will fall victim to the dredge line, and he has no way out. No flash. Jonko picks up the kill, and Cassio here as well. Camp that bush, picks up number 2 for himself. And just like that, Shinkari, 4-0 on the board for the Badgers. Tensive holding down the mid wave, so Runeweaver not even able to get in the shove. Poor man's Rose with a level 6 advantage over the Mordekaiser. Animosity probably going to get there after this cannon wave, I have to imagine. But it's winning out across the map again for the Badgers.
Yeah, I mean, that was really well timed as well. Tensive had cleared out his entire jungle, so he had nothing else to farm. So Camp That Bush roaming into the bottom lane instead of Tensive there gave Tensive just the opportunity to just be like, hey, I'll just cover mid, you go into the bot lane, finish off those kills, and that's 2 easy kills going over to Cassiopeia as well. And you know, this is 2 stacks onto the Dark Seal. This is a character that wants a couple items before she really pops off, but like getting 2 stacks onto the Dark Seal is really, really good for her right here.
For sure, absolutely. And really smooth map movements coming out from the Badgers so far tonight, as you just illustrated for us, Shinkari. Really nicely done by them. Did not even drop a mid-wave. Still picking up more kills. Death Sentence connects, but it was a bait all along. Jonko has the level advantage, but Kane is here. He flashes in. He lands the Q. He gets the kill. Jonko goes down. Big O's now trying to make his way back towards the tower. Did not account for the Kane making his way into this fight. Has the dredge line, gets out of there. So it will be just the 1 kill, but poor man's Rose is maintaining the level advantage. He has the ult. He's just going to go straight under the tower. And needs a couple more auto attacks here. He will not. They will find it in the end. It was extremely close. Both top laners go down, and I think the wave will crash. Not quite, actually. Oh, the death sentence connects. Bigos does go down in the end. He just hung out under the tower with no friends and Camp the Bush now in some trouble. He goes for the Petrifying Gaze, gets the double stun, but doesn't have the flash. There's no way that he can escape. And the shutdown. I'm getting some flashbacks here from game 1, Shinkari. Runeweaver picking up a big shutdown once again. See if he can make a little bit more happen with the Swain.
Yeah, and this is pretty good here. I like what he's going for as well. It was really well played and really well coordinated with Crawl coming up from the jungle as well. This is going to be a lot of XP going over to Crawl here and really tying up a lot of the gold, even giving him an advantage a little bit in terms of the gold against the Sejuani here. Now, they're probably not going to see each other, but I do find this to be the most interesting thing here. Poor man's Rose is swapping with Camp That Bush here. Camp That Bush going up into the top lane to fight the Mordekaiser, and I think this is actually really, really smart because look at what Mordekaiser has built here. He is putting together a Bramble Vest and just finished plated steel caps. He was attempting to build against Tryndamere, but now he has to deal with Cassio.
Oh no, the Glacial Prison connects. The Miasma comes down, and one more Twin Fang is going to seal the deal. Animosity drops, and now Crawl finds himself in a 3v2 underneath the tower. Camp the Bush has to be careful there. He's going to take a tower shot, but Bigos does a great job taking it up now. Crawl using the Umbral Trespass. Oh no, the last tower shot. Oh, it's just an execute. Camp That Bush doesn't actually give over any gold, but Crawl did survive, and he picked up a bunch of red orbs there, so he is going to be very close to transformation now. And the Cassio will be off the map for the next short while. Going for the dive underneath the tower. Very risky. Tensive going to drop to the last tower shot there.
No way.
And it's an absolute tragedy for the Badgers. They bit off more than they could chew, and they give over a double to Kane. He might have his transformation now after that blunder. The Never Move pulls back poor man's. Now he does have the Undying Rage, so he's going to go forward. Pops the ultimate. Now Remover flashed away, but he will not survive. And poor man's Rose, he's going to have a heal. He doesn't cast that in time coming out of the ultimate there, and he will get traded back. And now it's just the 280 carries. Red-white guns for Aphelios. He's so strong right now. He has so many chakrams, but he can't quite catch up to the Kaisa. Jonko makes it back onto the tower. And it's a 2-for-1 in the bottom side. That one going in favor of the Badgers.
Yeah, this game is a lot more even than what we saw before, and you can see why. There's so many less tiers on their team. You know, having a couple characters with tiers is pretty good. I don't want to harp on it too much. But the second that the whole team has a tier, I'm like, okay, hold on a minute. wait a minute. This might be a little goofy. This might be a little funny, but maybe we should think about it a little more here. As here comes Rost.
Ooh, landed the smite, but he was in that half-second of the recall animation, and that's a Glacial Prison that is going to connect directly with Swain's face. So he is going to just be the victim of way too much CC, and will get taken down. Bigos picking up the last hit there on the Nautilus. But they will remove the enemy mid laner from the Rift once again. And Tryndamere doing Tryndamere things in the mid lane could potentially be even more frightening than doing those things in the top lane might be. So
yeah,
definitely something we're gonna have to watch out for.
Yeah, we discussed this very briefly in the match in the time in between, but Camp That Bush is usually a top lane player. So having this swap isn't exactly too far-fetched. Tryndamere has been played a whole lot mid and is good into mages as well. He just waits for their mana bar to disappear, then starts wailing on them, right? Like, that's going to be how he's going to play this Swain matchup. And, oh man, are they swapping again? All right. Well, this does mean a little bit more. I think this is better for Animosity here, just because he's been itemizing against the Tryndamere basically all early game here. Jensen.
Oh, not quite enough range on the hook there. Jonko with the movement speed gets himself to safety. But yeah, it appears what they really wanted was just to send the Kai'Sa into the mid lane. So that is how Tryndamere ended up back in that 1v1 against the Mordekaiser. But Sejuani, they're looking for Animosity up there, and they ceded priority over the bot side river, which means the dragon count will get tied up at 1-1 as the side of the Panthers are able to pick that one up. Gonna have a Hextech Soul for our second game of the night here, Shankari, so that is certainly gonna be something to play for. The cross-map trades are real. Tensive dropping the Herald into top lane. I think the turret is likely gonna fall here, and Animosity likely immediately afterwards. He does have the Death Realm. He can grab somebody here to try and find the outplay. I'm not sure why he didn't go for it earlier, but he does have Sejuani in the Death Realm now. He's got his jungler on the way, but he wasn't quite able to finish off that kill on the enemy jungler. Flashing forward his Crowcrow. They do it, get the kill in the end, but Jonko finally able to take out the enemy top laner. Now Kane, Ross, gonna get some healing from the Nautilus there. He gets a knock up onto the Kai'Sa, but it's not enough. He gets shut down, and it's going to be the 2-for-1 Badgers once again on top.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to pick up first turret as well. This is a huge chunk of gold. Once again, the Badgers favor here. They're now up about 3,000 gold now at this stage of the game, which is a nice gold lead to start it out with, right? This is looking really good for them here. And man, it was so close for Crawl there. I think he just if he could have pressed the Gore Drinker button maybe just a little bit quicker there, he might have been able to live and turn it around. Because Nautilus just doesn't deal damage, and he really only needed to kill the Kai'Sa there. So super, super close for them. And man, it was as well played as you probably could have wanted it. I think Animosity maybe should have pressed the R button maybe a little sooner. Maybe it was still on cooldown. I have to double check, but man, I feel like the Badgers have just been living in the Panthers top lane this whole game. And Animosity has been dove so many times. Tensive has been playing so much up here that it's just really hard for this Mordekaiser to really, you know, get a footing in this game. And they're so far behind because they had to itemize against the Tryndamere. They're now sitting on a Corrupting Leer, which is the worst mythic component you can buy, and it's just going to be just a non-factor for this Mordekaiser here. It's not going to offer too much until it becomes that Riftmaker.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to shout out that I was surprised at how long Animosity was able to survive up there. I mean, part of that, Dredgeline connects. Could he be in some trouble here? Sejuani a little bit far away still, but they will get the flash from the Mordekaiser, just continuing to put the pressure on up there in top lane, continuing to focus down Animosity and trying to gain more advantages up there. But we do see the push coming through in mid. Udefine me able to get a little bit of damage down on that tier 1, and the collapse is coming through now. Bigos is looking for it. Flash Dredge line going to be dodged away from Glacial Prison, going to miss the mark as well. Depth Charge comes out onto the Aphelios. Udefine me has flashed into the Dragon Pit, and he has absolutely no way out. Jonko is going to pick up that kill. 5v4 on the map now. No objective for a couple of minutes still, but more gold picked up for the Badgers.
Yeah, once again, this is another good time for them here. Sejuani using those Hex Gates here. We're really going to have to keep our eyes around these neutral objectives because, like you said, you know, this is a game that could be this Hextech Soul is insanely good. In my honest opinion, I think it's the best one. That's my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It's honestly debatable. A lot of them are the Infernal Soul is really good. The Ocean Soul is insane, right? But in my opinion, the Hextech Soul is the best one. It gives you stats that there isn't a champion in League of Legends that doesn't want attack speed and cooldown reduction. And then it also grants you that the chain lightning that also slows, and it puts the hex gates on the map as well, which are an insane tool for a team that can utilize them well, right? Especially with a Kayn or a Sejuani that can easily get around walls once they're on the other side. Like, it's such an insane soul to have. Really, really good.
And the fact that the teams are tied at 1 dragon apiece makes it that much more exciting, right? Because it means that we're going to have some really exciting team fights, most likely, in our future. Some good reactions there from Jensen, able to flash away in time. We are seeing that first Hextech Dragon on the map in just about 30 seconds. River control fully held by the side of the Badgers for now, but we see a lot of Panthers in that bottom side jungle looking to make their way towards the objective. Jensen going to start clearing out some of this vision. Crawl going to find a knock-up. Big Ghost dredge lines away. Intensive sitting on a blast cone. Looking for the enemies. Looking for where they're coming from. Dragon spawning in 5.
I'm surprised that they don't have Tryndamere just kind of shoving in one of these waves here and just making him act similar to a Rift Herald. Just like, hey, we're going to start up this dragon. You either need to answer this Tryndamere or you need to answer this dragon push. But it's going to have him wailing on the dragon right here. This might be the fight. There's the hook.
Yeah, Swain W going to get some vision. Hook comes in. Bigos going to be going down probably in a hurry here, but the dragon has been claimed. Crawl able to distract in the back line as poor man's Rose was diving forward with the Tryndamere, living for so long, and they are going to be able to get the first couple of kills, but he's not quite able to finish off the 80 carry as Unify Me Gale Force is away, but the flash forward for Tensive will finish him off. It's a triple kill for the Sejuani, making a quadra. Would have been a quadra, but Camp That Bush wanted some money too. Overall, it's the 5-for-2 team fight with the Dragon on top. And the Badgers make good on their gold lead and take control once again here in Game 2.
Yeah, and we kind of saw in that team fight there something I was talking about in Champ Select there. Animosity pulled poor man's Rose into the Shadow Realm. He pulled him into the Death Realm, trying to 1v1 him and turn it around. But all poor man's Rose needs to do is press R, start screaming, and then just turn it around at Mordekaiser, right? You now have a very angry, very muscly man in your Shadow Realm trying to win the Yami no Gemu, but he's going to walk out with the star chips.
What a reference there, Shinkari. Thank you for that one. But we are seeing the Rift Herald number 2 get started up as the Panthers move in. Seems like the Badgers don't necessarily want to give over this objective for free. Poor man's Rose continuing to play League of Legends and not Tryndamere, somewhat surprisingly, but it has been working out pretty well for him so far. But that's the Death Sentence going to connect onto the Sejuani. Intensive dashing away, keeping himself safe for now, but he's down to about 50%. The Kayn damage is real. The Umbral Trespass going in, finishes off the enemy jungler. It's a shutdown. Going back over, Animosity will fall, but Sway getting out so much damage. Runeweaver going golden in the middle of the fight, just draining everybody. And the Panthers roar to life in the topside river as they get the return ace and pick up the neutral objective for themselves.
Yeah, this is a really big win for the Panthers here. They're going to be able to cash in a lot of objective bounties as well. That's active for them here, and this is big. With Shelly, they should be able to push in on some other turrets as well. And once again, the objective bounties immediately go away, huh? But yeah, this is going to be a really good time for them. Okay, Runeweaver playing with fire too. Okay, constantly distracting me here. This is a really good time for them to bounce back in this game. I was going to say, after that ace, they're still down 3,000 gold here, but now with the Rift Herald in their pockets being finished and picking up that objective bounty from the mid lane turret as well, this is now a difference of just 1.3 thousand gold, and that's not really that much, right? This is going to be a gold lead that you can bounce back from. This is really good. I think the only thing right now that I want is Runeweaver, ditch the Rylai's idea. Just don't even do it. They're already standing inside your ultimate. You don't need it. You need that Zhonya's more.
Yeah, that stopwatch activation was so massive in that team fight, allowing him to stay alive on such low HP and continue to put out so much damage with the Demonic Ascension. So I do agree. I mean, that item is such a game-changing or like a playstyle-changing ability for a champion like Swain that I think that would make sense to prioritize that item completion. We'll see what he decides to go for. He does, of course, have the Leandries already. Stacking up that Dark Seal is already quite strong. But he's going to need to continue performing as the Baron has been started. This is a T1 Baron. I don't know if that one has been coined yet, but I'm going to go for it. They're going for the T1 Baron here. The enemy team has no vision. They have no idea whatsoever until now, as it is slain. Oh, but Tryndamere does get picked off there. He even had the Undying range, but just decided that Baron deserved a kill there as well, I guess. So he will go down. Really unfortunate, actually, because it means the Tryndamere is not going to have Baron buff, which is something that he does use extremely well. Oof. But still, overall, a very positive play for the Badgers, able to secure that very powerful neutral. And should be able to get some good work done with it. Jonko gonna find Swain all by himself and just absolutely shred through him. Oh my goodness. That's Kraken Slayer, Blade of the Ruin King Kaisa. She just one-shot that man.
Yeah, this is another reason why that Zhonya's Hourglass is really good. Just getting some more armor under your belt is going to be very important. Right now, the Rylai's Crystal Scepter is finished, so we're probably going to see that Zhonya's Hourglass next. But man, just having that extra armor for you is going to make you a lot better into Kaisa and into Tryndamere as well. But this is some really big swings for the Badgers here. They're doing such a good job of this. And now the next dragon is spawned. They're up a person here. They're going to be in some trouble at the red
initiates. Connects, though. It's Jensen maybe finding an angle. The Aphelios is getting out so much free damage, and they pick up 2 kills at the start of the fight. Now only 2 Baron buffs remain on the side of the Badgers, only on the Cassio and the Kaisar. The only 2 people that still have it. No jungler means this objective now is pretty much uncontestable. I don't know why the Badgers are still here. Just go use your Baron buff, guys. Poor man's Rose is just flinging himself straight into the enemy team. He's trapped in the Death Realm. He's going to activate the Tryndamere ultimate pretty late here, and will... Oh, the stopwatch from Mordekaiser able to deny the trade kill, and now Crawl has found the mid laner. He's going to get the knock up. The flash away for Camp That Bush was absolutely necessary. Death Sense is going to go wide. A beautiful Cassio ultimate. Going to get some damage out, but it's a 2v5. There's no way that you can ever win this. And now Jonko is the last surviving Baron buff, and not for much longer, as the hook connects over the wall. Runeweaver picks up the shutdown, and the Panthers look to take us to game 3.
Yeah, this is looking incredibly powerful from them. They definitely want a game 3 here. They're giving up their all, but they're not yet out of the woods just yet.
Depth charge comes out. Swain extremely low. Runeweaver, no ultimate means he has no life. The Frostbite connects from long range, but the follow-up just isn't there. You define me. Looking like he's going to be able to make his wow out. The slow connects. The flash. The dredge line. The shutdown for Bigos on the Nautilus. And just as I say it, the side of the Badgers come fighting back. This is still anybody's game.
Yeah, they're not out of the, like I said, they're not out of the woods just yet. They've gotten some good wins, but they're still pretty far behind here, and now down 2,000 gold. And, you know, I have to agree with you kind of there. You mentioned it when we were around the Drake. To go back to that there, Badgers were just hanging around the Drake for so long and not really making any sort of aggressive moves. Was the play to just kind of walk up to the Drake on Tryndamere and maybe steal it, but Crawl, he might be in some trouble here.
Yeah, he did not know that the reinforcements were on the way, and on the way they most certainly were, as Jonko comes flying in there, picks up the kill. The Lantern is down, but Animosity wants this one. He's got Sejuani in the Death Realm, but he's forced to flash over the wall as she tries to dash away with the Arctic Assault. He will eventually get the kill, but Jonko has the instincts. He's got one back of his own. And now the Petrifying Gaze comes out. Thresh in a lot of trouble here. He's going to be looking to going down next, but Aphelios flies in with the Moonlight Vigil and just absolutely explodes the enemy team. The Badgers get annihilated by Aphelios, and now Jonko on the run once again has to try and get away from the sniper gun. He will be able to do so as the E comes off cooldown, but Tryndamere has finally started playing Tryndamere, Shinkari. He's doing the Tryndamere thing.
Yeah, look at, wow, isn't this fun? Isn't this interactive? Look at this Tryndamere. It's like, yeah, you were able to kill our whole team. Real great job, guys. Real pat on the back for you, but, you know, I'm just going to clear up your entire bot lane. And now he's got the Navori Quick Blades as well. This means this is an item that is really only built on 2 characters. It's built on Kog'Maw, it's built on Tryndamere. Every single time you crit, your basic abilities get cooldown reduction. So this means that Tryndamere can very actively just start spinning all around these team fights here. This is going to be insanely hard to lock down this Tryndamere now, who already was a problem and is now just he's just slippery. He's just really there's no way to lock this guy down now unless you have every single form of hard CC.
Yeah, I mean, Shinkari, you sounded a bit sarcastic there, I must say, when you were describing how exciting that Tryndamere gameplay was. But I have to say, as a spectator, I'm having a great time. He's doing the Tryndamere thing. He's split pushing to victory. It's just how you're supposed to play League of Legends. And I do enjoy teams playing towards their strengths, but certainly a lot of work to do here for both sides. We are deep into the wilderness now as the Badgers and the Panthers stalk one another, looking for any sign of weakness. They're going to look to try to gang up on Animosity once again, but he has Thresh and Kayn here to defend this time. Knockup comes down onto Tensive, but he's very tanky on the Sejuani, not going to be put under threat that easily. The Baron is going to be spawning in just 15 seconds. The 5th dragon, the 3rd Hextech dragon, in just under a minute. And I'm expecting some more team fights in the very near future. Gold hovering around a 3,000 advantage for the side of the Badgers, but it doesn't really mean all that much. At this point in the game, we see 3 items completed for Swain, 3 items completed for Kayn, and Aphelios so close to that Infinity Edge. He's already doing an absolute fuck ton of damage. I can only imagine. Oh, they got another T1 Baron now! You let him do it again! There's no vision in the Badgers, just sneak it away. Oh, Runeweaver's flashing forward, but he can't find the Never Move. The Nautilus is still moving. He gets knocked up, though. They will get a kill onto Big Os. 5v4 now for the spawn of the Hextech Dragon. 1 inhibitor already down, though. There's a teleport for Camp the Bush. He could teleport into the base and look for the Nexus. If the side of the Panthers commit for the Dragon fight, this is a very important moment in the game, Shinkari. Swain is going to go back to defend. He's going to defend the Nexus turrets, which means this is a 4v4 now in the bot side river. Jet Sentence goes wide.
Teleport back.
Away from the Death's Grasp. Swain does teleport back to the fight, as you say. And they're going to go ahead and start up the Dragon now. Cassio teleporting into the fight as well. They want the 4v5. They're looking to change the story from last time. The flash forward for the ultimate from Cassio. They get the first kill onto the Thresh. Tryndamere spinning forward. The Quick Blades are enough to take down the Aphelios. And with you to find me down, this has to be a fight for the Badgers. Jonko flying back with the killer instinct. They get the ace. The clean ace, the 5-for-0 in the 4v5 as the Badgers emerge victorious. They march towards the enemy Nexus, and they will claim the 2-0 in their first match of Style Season 13.
Yeah, this is an insane game from the Badgers here. They really came out on top, and shout-outs to Poor Man's Rose. He recognized who was carrying these team fights and immediately went on to You Define Me. He's not been itemizing against the Tryndamere, and he can't. Even with that huge health shield that he was able to put together with the red gun and the Bloodthirster, it was still not enough to live through that fight. And with no Aphelios in the fight, with Runeweaver having to teleport back into the fight, right? They weren't able to land CC onto the Kaisa in order to lock down the carry and now they just go to quickly end the game, and that's why it's annoying to play against Tryndamere, because the reason they were able to end the game there was because Tryndamere just completely ignored his team and just walked up the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, it was well played again from the Badgers. That game certainly felt like it was more back and forth than game number 1, where the Badgers felt like they were more in control the entire time. The team composition this time around for the Panthers was definitely better suited at facilitating them playing from behind, and they had some really good fights there. But I guess 4 members was more than enough for the Badgers. 3 wasn't it? Couldn't make it happen with 3, but 4 they made that happen for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually getting news now that we might have one more game here. It looks like they're doing a block of
Oh,
3. So we might actually be getting a game 3 here for Wildlife Esports Panthers versus Madison Esports Badgers here. So there's still one more match to pick up for maybe Panthers turning this around and maybe putting another win in their books here. But this is definitely not exactly a match win that they were hoping for to continue their undefeated streak.
yeah, yeah. I think that is great though that we have game 3. These teams are obviously pretty closely matched, and that second game was an absolute banger, very entertaining to watch. But before we do go to our break and then potentially on towards that third game, let's get your thoughts on the match overall, or this game overall, I guess I should say specifically. Who do you think was the standout performer from the Badgers this time around? You want
Man,
to again here? It was a great
I
game.
think it's poor man's Rose. I mean, the
Okay.
Tryndamere play was really good, and just the macro play of them moving around the map, like forcing Mordekaiser to build that armor early, was really important to slowing down the power from the Mordekaiser, and then swapping the Cassiopeia to the top lane was really really smart to match him there and be able to pick up a kill, I believe. And then Poor Man's Rose just being able to enable his team to just end the game with that massive split push he had in the bot lane was really, really important. I think that was kind of and just him and Jonko just soloing the Baron 2 times. Like,
Twice! They did it
yeah,
twice!
yeah, they
I
did
got
it twice.
oh my god. And Rose didn't even die to it the second time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what's really important here. The Tryndamere was key to taking down a lot of these objective points on the map and being able to give Badgers just a massive lead over Panthers when it seemed like it was even, and then Panthers probably from outside vision, oh, Baron Nashor has been slain. And then they're winning a team fight around Baron, and then suddenly, like, oh, your inhibitor has been destroyed, right? And this is all thanks to Poor Man's Rose this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, he got a lot of help. Tensive was pretty much up there nonstop in the early game. Bigos with a couple of visits to that top lane as well. But definitely, poor man's Rose, an excellent performance there on the Tryndamere. He was also the one that zeroed out You Define Me as a Felios in that last fight to just absolutely secure the victory there. And then he, of course, did make his way straight into the bot lane, as you already mentioned. But yeah, strong performances across the board here for the Badgers. And they could potentially be looking at a 3-0 night if they're able to take the entire block. But the Panthers have got to be real hungry. They haven't found any Badger meat in
Yeah.
the entirety of the night so far. So they're going to be really salivating for that one, really hoping to pull out a win here in our third game. We're just going to have to wait and see. They've had a couple of looks now. Neither one has really worked out. Game 2, as I already mentioned, much closer than the first one was, but I wonder if they're going to do something entirely different from what they've shown us so far for this third game. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
We are going to go to that quick break, though. We'll be right back, folks, with more Style Esports right after this. right, everybody, welcome back for our third and final game of the night. The Panthers dropping a couple of games from red side here. They tried giving Runeweaver. He went for a couple of different counter picks. Neither one of them quite able to find the mark. So gonna try something a little bit different now. Gonna move over to blue side and see if that is going to be what allows them to take down their wild rivals here, the Badgers. Aatrox looking to be the first pick locked in. So I believe this is, no, we did see an Aatrox in game one. It was Rose's Aatrox. Going to be on Animosity this time around. See what he can do with that. Oh, Syndra has been on the bench, though, so far for the entirety of the match thus far tonight. And that has finally been let through.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty... I definitely like the Syndra mini rework here. Her early levels are not as good as they used to be, but the scaling potential she has is a lot better. She every single time, starting at 40 stacks and every 20 stacks afterwards, Syndra gets to upgrade one of her abilities. So this is going to be very good to see here. And we'll definitely comment on it more, but the Fiora lock-in, getting a little bit of inspiration from the Worlds matches today. Fiora's going to be locked in for that top lane on the Badgers here. Pretty similar to the Tryndamere lock-in from before, a very aggressive AD duelist up in the top lane. Probably not going to split push as hard, but definitely going to field a similar role there as we now get to pass back over. Orianna locked in for the Panthers here.
Orianna into the Syndra, the classic matchup, something we've seen many, many times over the years. And the Fiora, though, very, very exciting. Rose throwing down the gauntlet up there once again. Does seem like he's been getting the best of Animosity so far tonight for the most part. And gonna look to do it once again with the Grand Duelist this time around. As you mentioned, it is a proven... relatively proven counter pick against the Aatrox. The Wukong locked in now for the Panthers means they have quite a nice team fighting composition coming together for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this Wukong here definitely going to be a good ball delivery service for the Orianna here, especially because he can engage from invisibility. But we do have an Italy. Oh, well, that's why you never trust the hovers. Then Italy would have been really cool to see. We haven't seen Italy jungle in a whole lot of time, but this is the counter pick to Wukong and Aatrox right here. It's the Poopster. It's Poppy. She's going to be locked in here. There's no way that you can dash around when she pops her W and you're on trying to go through it or already inside of it.
Yeah, Tensive going to be looking to bring down the hammer here for sure. Put a stop to all of those pesky dashes that Wukong and Aatrox are so want to go for. And now into the second phase of bans, a very strong support focus coming out as both sides have locked away the top triangle of the map from both teams. So it's going to be a focus on the supports. It's going to be interesting to see what these guys decide to go for this time around. So we have pretty much everything available. Only the Renata being a bot lane character that was banned away from the first phase, and it is just a full focus on supports. So both supports going to be showing us something different here for our third game.
Yeah, Jensen does have his signature Bard available if the Panthers want to look for that. Aphelios is going to be the first pick maybe for the Esports Badger for Madison's Badgers here. And I think I like it. It seems like there's a pretty decent chunk of short range folks who can really play the line of scrimmage for Aphelios. And once you have the Poppy on your team, it's going to be really hard to dive on top of him without just, normally just walking through the Poppy, which is going to be pretty hard to do, especially with a Syndra there as well. And Aphelios should be able to punish that as well. So it's going to be hard to get back to the back line. There's still a hook champion available, right? We still have Pike. We still have Blitzcrank if they want to play that with the Aphelios here. So nothing taken too off the board here, but Karma is going to be locked in for the Panthers here. Definitely another poke-heavy style champion for the Bard player in the bot lane. And now we just have
you to find me on the Ezreal again here. Classic pairing with the Karma. But the Caitlyn made it all the way
definitely
through
pretty
the draft.
Good.
Yeah, very high tier right now. If you ask pretty much anybody, very high presence in pro play, of course. and pretty good pairing with Karma, right? They both want to do the same thing. They want to push the lane. They want to apply pressure. So some good synergy there. And the last pick now saved for Bigos this time around for the Badgers. Looking like it might be the Soraka paired up with the Aphelios. But no, the pivot wanted to go for some engage, and it will be the Rakan going up against Caitlyn. Karma. Seems like a little bit of a risky pick potentially, but Bigos could be going more for a roam style of strategy potentially.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a very strong... I mean, I love Rakan. Rakan is one of my favorite supports to play, and I think he's... I don't know how well he pairs with Aphelios, but, right, obviously you want him paired with the Xayah here, and Aphelios more likes having hook champions to make sure people stay within range of his shorter range guns, right? But I think for the most part here, Rakan should be relatively fine and good to follow up and engage or just have any sort of engage for the team right here, because there's no one that can really just press the go button and start a fight for the Badgers here. Like, Poppy can speed up, but that's really it, and just kind of walking into an Orianna and an Aatrox and even a Caitlyn isn't exactly advised here. So just having that Rakan being able to press the quickness, W into the team, right, get some CC, then immediately leave and start peeling for the Aphelios as well is going to be very, very valuable for the Badgers here.
Yeah, we've got some strong team fighting on both sides now. You know, on one side you've got Syndra Aphelios, some really strong AoE, some strong mid-game spikes there. The Rakan, as you were just saying, and the Poppy for engage. And then on the other side, you've got Orianna Wukong, classic team fight pairing. And then, of course, Aatrox and Caitlyn also going to be very strong in the mid-game around those neutral objectives. They're going to be ready to scrap, ready to go. So both of these teams drafting in a somewhat similar fashion, I would say, this time around.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. The only thing I wanted to maybe say here is that maybe I would have liked Sivir more than the Caitlyn here to pair with the Karma, right? That's a lot of movement speed. Your team is going to need to just have that extra oomph in order to get past the Poppy doubling, right? Your main source of initiation has basically been stuffed because Poppy just exists, right? And so now you can't be this ball delivery service like you can with the Wukong here. You kind of have to rely more on maybe a Shirelia's battle song from Jensen, as well as the enhanced shield, and maybe the On the Hunt would have been just a little bit better here. But I still feel like Caitlyn is fine, right? It does give you a bit of a hyper carry that gives you some strong late game potential, and Aatrox and Wukong is going to be able to shore up a lot of the weakness that Caitlyn has in this mid game here.
Yeah, definitely. It does seem pretty straightforward. You know, I think I do agree with your assertion that Sivir might have worked a little bit better with some of the things that had already been drafted by the Panthers. But, you know, of course, you understand the reason for the Caitlyn as well, just because it is such a strong pick right now. It does give you so much priority in the bot lane in the early game. You know, Aphelios can contest Caitlyn's range when he has the sniper rifle, which, of course, he always does start the game with. But, you know, the Rakan going up against the Karma is really, you know, both technically ranged champions, but Karma is going to offer so much more when it comes to pushing the lane and applying that pressure. Rakan is really, you know, he has to play for the all-in, or he's just, you know, playing back and just, you know, trying to protect the Aphelios and make sure that the Aphelios doesn't get dove or anything like that, or, you know, going for some kind of roaming play, as I briefly mentioned earlier. But I feel like there's not a ton to talk about with these team compositions, Shinkari. Like, they seem pretty standard. You know, they're both team fight comps. They kind of want to play out the game in a similar way. A lot of these lane matchups are things that we've seen before many, many times, been seeing for months in the meta here. So it really does feel like this game is going to mostly come down to the coordination of these two teams and, of course, individual play. If the side of the Badgers find big advantages in the lanes again, as they have for the first couple of games tonight, then they're going to be, you know, more accelerated and in a really strong position to come out on top in the fights as well.
Yeah, and I think the Panthers here are, I think the really only difference between these two teams is when these teams are going to be powerful, right? The Badgers have kind of just Fiora is just a little bit more early game oriented, and Poppy does kind of just plateau out as the game goes later. But for the most part, like Syndra and Aphelios are playing to go a lot later, in my opinion.
Mm.
And because of that, like it's really only Caitlyn that's going to be able to match that scaling, right? Because late game, she's able to chain those headshots together really, really quickly and do a whole lot of damage. So to me, the Panthers have just a team comp that spikes just a little bit earlier, right? And
Right.
Wukong and Aatrox very good in kind of like this mid game where like they've built up so much damage that like it's really hard to properly answer them. And there's not really a whole lot of folks who are going to be stacking armor from the Badgers here to really stop an Eclipse build from Animosity here,
Mm.
or even just like resist a lot of the damage that Caitlyn and Wukong are going to be putting out. So I'm really looking for the Panthers to end this game earlier than what the Badgers are going to want here.
Does that mean that you favor the Panthers' composition then if they come online earlier? If you feel like they're going to be able to compete in those team fights a little bit sooner?
It depends, right? We did see a composition that did spike earlier from them before, right? Like with the
Yeah.
Swain and the Mordekaiser, in my opinion, who spiked kind of in the mid game, right? But it's definitely going to come down to it. I mean, the way that the Badgers have been playing these past couple of games, I think I have to give it to them for this third game
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
as we're getting into it. I think both these compositions are relatively similar. I like the Syndra rework. I like the way that the Badgers have been playing these past couple of games. I think I'm going to give it to the Badgers this time.
All right. Well, my co-caster favors the Badgers once we add the nameplates, and it's hard to argue with that one. As he mentioned, they've been playing really well so far tonight, but the Panthers are gonna want this win really bad. It's their first time on blue side tonight. We'll see if they can do it here in our last game of the evening. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back with Style Season 13 right after this short break. right, everybody. It's the Panthers on the blue side. See if they can get it done. They dropped the first 2 games tonight. The second game, much closer than the first. Seems like maybe they are finding their footing here. Did already lose the match, of course. It is a best of 3. So 2 wins is all that the Badgers needed to take the match victory tonight. The undefeated streak for the Panthers is over. They're looking for a little bit of vengeance here in this 3rd game.
Yeah, we did have a block of 3, surprise game 3 for everyone here, including the casters, as we are getting into this last game of the night here. And, you know, I'm liking that they have that the Panthers here have put together a team composition that is just a little bit more earlier oriented. It's just, you know, it's just I'll say I've lost faith. I'll say that in this kind of team here, as you know, just the way the Badgers have been playing these past couple of games is very good.
I mean, we can see, right, why the Panthers were undefeated up until this point. They clearly have a way that they like to play the game. Okay, well, they're going for an invade right now. So let's talk about that for the time being, as Tensive takes a big hit to his health bar and is forced to retreat. And it looks like the blue buff is the objective. So the Panthers going to look to secure that one, get their Wukong off to a nice, strong start. And Tensive has been exiled from his bot side jungle and will have to start on his own chickens.
Yeah, I mean, this is an annoying start for Poppy here. Poppy is relatively weak to these invades, right? Doesn't have as exactly very good ways to duel 1v1. So Wukong going to be able to grab this objective, these camps for himself is going to be good, but I like what Poppy is doing here, immediately moving over to the to Wukong side of the jungle.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Get your level 2. Go ahead and cross-map that, because you know Wukong is not going to be over at his own blue buff yet. A blue-to-blue clear for Wukong just really would not make any sense. Like, denying that from Poppy is not even worth it. And meanwhile, in bottom lane, Jensen did have to burn the flash early, and the flash grand entrance gets the knock-up ignite, comes down. Karma running out of HP, but Jonko also extremely low, and it's a kill back and forth. The first blood actually goes over to Bigos on the Rakan there, but the second blood is all you define me. He's going to pick up the double, and this Caitlyn's going to be really far ahead of the pace of the game now. A double kill before 3 minutes is exactly where that champion wants to be.
Yeah, this is just a good start for the Caitlyn here. The first blood goes over to Rakan, and then the return kill and the double goes over to Caitlyn. So this is now a whole lot of trouble for
Tensive gets the charge back. Animosity trying to walk this one out, but the double flashes are committed, and the kill does come through as the Badgers are able to tie up that scoreboard. They pick up a second kill for themselves, and this game is still nice and even.
Yeah, once again, this is going to be evened up. Oh, right. I mean, right as we say that, 300 gold in their favor. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty good game for this Fiora here to start off here. Aatrox very telegraphed how his damage comes out, so Fiora going to be able to counter those very well for themselves. And, you know,
does he know?
Crawl. Tensive,
I think he might.
He does not know. He's in
going into the bush.
Trouble.
Oh, Tensive. Yeah, he is in some trouble. He's got some movement speed for the flash forward. The Nimbus strike into the Q, and Runeweaver picks up the last hit and the blue buff for Orianna. She's feeling great about that. And now Rakan has made his way into the mid lane, but they're not going to look for anything more right now. Didn't actually even take away that red buff either. But Tensive, unfortunately, is still only sitting on 3 camps. So he is going to be falling a bit behind Crawl here in terms of CS. Going down there as well. You know, it's a good start overall for the Panthers. They are once again ahead by 1 kill on the scoreboard. Bigos looking to make a little bit more happen. Jensen knocked up. 1 more auto attack. Bigos going to go ahead and finish him off there. So another kill onto the Karma, but Caitlyn is still doing okay for now. Not going to be able to do much pushing without her support, though.
Yeah, and normally I'm a big proprietor of KS, stands for kill secured, but Tensive.
Hex Splash out of the bush. You Define Me has the ghost, so he's going to be able to look to walk this one out. Rakan flying in with the grand entrance there, gets a knock-up, and now Caitlyn trying to make it back to her support. Karma coming in with the shield there, and now Tensive has to make his way out. We'll be able to do so, no problem. Some good pressure put on by the Badgers down there in the bottom lane. Not able to find anything more, though. And we're 3-3 this game. They're just, the teams are Going back and forth.
My
Tensive
God,
not done. Still looking for more. Gets the charge into the turret, but he's going to pick up aggro here. Has to immediately get out of there. And now Crawl on the hunt gets knocked up. And I think the side of the Badgers are going to be able to escape. They even got the teleport out of Runeweaver's Orianna. So that's going to be a comfortable reset for Camp That Bush, which he desperately needed, as he is completely out of mana right now on the Syndra.
Yeah. With that level 6 now, they're at least guaranteed to have 25 stacks. We can take... Oh, wait a minute. Crawl. Looking for a little bit more here.
He gets knocked up. They just get the wave in, though. No harm, no foul. All good.
Yeah. So we have to kind of keep our eyes on Camp That Bush there. 40 stacks is really important to continuing this lane phase.
Goodness.
Oh my gosh, there's just so much fighting. I don't even get a chance to talk about this Syndra, who at 40 stacks, that's going to be the big thing that's going to turn this Syndra back into that lane powerhouse in the mid lane here. She's sitting at 31.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the break point there that you were just saying?
So the first one is 40.
Okay.
And at 40, Syndra is going to get 2 stacks of her Q ability. And then every 20 stacks afterwards, she upgrades her next ability. So 60 is W, 80 is E, 100 is R, and 120 is just a whole lot of AP. So
I see.
This is going to be something to keep our eyes on as this game progresses, right? This late game Syndra is going to be very powerful, and they have an Aphelios to boot. So this late game from the Badgers here is going to be pretty powerful, and it's something to keep our eyes on.
Really interesting. You know, I mentioned the Syndra Orianna matchup briefly, in the drafting phase as it got locked in. But with that little rework to Syndra, it does have a little bit of a different feeling to it now than it used to, doesn't it? Whereas, before, the Syndra was really the champion that you pick for lane, where you try and get early pressure and you 2v2 with your jungler and kind of try and build advantages very early on, where Orianna was more the scaling team fighter that's playing more for the neutral fights later on, as Jonko is going to get tethered. He's going to get rooted for a minute here as the trap comes down. The headshot comes through. The Piltover Peacemaker, and Jonko is just dead. Perfectly played from the Caitlyn Karma lane. And they are able to find the kill. 4-3 now in favor of the Panthers. Crawl moving forward with the Nimbus strike. Throws down the stick. Gives Bigos a nice little bonk there. But the Rakan, perfectly fine. He's going to be dashing away from that one.
Yeah, this is really a it was a little bit awkward for the Aphelios in that fight. Now it's going to be even more awkward for the Syndra here. Is in a whole lot of trouble. That's the tether.
Yeah, flashing away, still gets rooted, but the Rakan and Poppy are here for the counter gank, and the shutdown comes through. Tensive picks it up. A lot of gold for the Poopster there. Crawl dashing back now with a Nimbus strike. Needs to make his way out. Oh, the chains pulled back. Rosalie end up trading. Oh, Aatrox lives in the top lane. Gets the kill. Beautifully played by him. Even with the Ignite committed from Rose, not able to find that kill under the tower. Fiora goes down. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, that was another kill picked up onto the Wukong as well. So the Badgers finding, definitely coming out on top in that exchange.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of kills have now thrown across the map here, and at the end of all that, up 1,000 gold now, and on the Cloud Drake, the best individual Drake in the game, which means you don't get a Cloud Soul, is now, they're getting some pretty good leads for themselves here. This is really good. They might have lost Poor Man's Rose up in the top lane, but it's not the end of the world. It's, that matchup is still pretty even, still looking for animosity here.
Fiora has
Poor Man's Rose is losing a lot of CS. He's already down like 17 there, and just walked away from the wave that's crashing into his turret to try to get the kill.
And was not able to find it, so good call out there. Definitely, Poor Man's Rose on the Fiora, starting to fall a little bit behind in the top lane there. Tax is paid very early on by the Darkin, just going straight for that Executioner's Calling before even the Dirk got picked up there. I wonder how important that was in that 1v1 under the turret and actually making sure that the Fiora goes down and he survives.
It's not 100% necessary for Fiora, but it is. You definitely enjoy having it, and Kempung Chainsword is really good items. Bot lane.
Tensive really wanted it there. He committed to Keeper's Verdict as well, but they did not finish off the kills. You Define Me very nicely sidesteps that grand entrance from Bigos, is able to keep himself safe. Extra member committed towards the bot side for the Badgers. Are not able to find anything that time, which does mean Crawl has the go-ahead. Quickness committed now. Going to find the knock-up. Oh, Jensen goes golden. Gets the tether. The Moonlight Vigil comes out, though. And Jonko will pick up that kill. His first of the game. The Rift Herald on the other side of the map will get picked up by Crawl. He knows that Tensive was in the bot lane. He's going to be able to cross-map that, get a neutral for himself. World Ender pop now for Animosity, fighting back against the Fiora, who is still behind about a wave in CS. Oh, dear. You Define Me going to get finished off by the entrance there. How does this top lane fight go? Crawl throwing out the first Cyclone. Riposte not available, I suppose, for the Fiora. Uses it now, but it's not enough as Crawl picks up the kill, his first as well. Going to be looking to complete that Sunderer very, very soon. I wonder if he has it now on this base. Not quite. Needs a little bit more gold, but Wukong going to be hitting that spike pretty soon. And the teams trading across the map for now.
Yeah, and man, this bot lane is just continuing to be not so great for this Aphelios. That this Rakondo has 4 kills. Right, that final kill that we saw there, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna talk about that. And you know, I was mentioning before that I'm a big person who's oh my
goodness, Tensive.
Right
He's onto the turret again. Animosity. Oh, the power is unleashed, and the Aatrox does go down. He wasn't ready for that one. And to camp that bush, picks up enough.
Yeah, I mean, this is just insane. Is Poor Man's Rose diving on the Rune Weaver here? Okay, no. Once again, I'm a big proprietor of KS, stands for Kill Secured, but this is ridiculous. This is getting a little too much right here. They have, oh my, okay, wait, you might have a dive on the Rune Weaver here. Who
comes down. Oh, he's super dead. Yeah, nice riposte on that one. Oriana's going to drop. Bigos really tried to pick up number 5 for himself there. You can tell he really wanted to take, to secure that one, I should say. But Poor Man's Rose will get the last hit in the end. Ooh, turret dropped in the bot lane by Crawl. So this is exactly what Caitlyn needed. That's a lot of gold going into Define Me's hands, but the Gravitum comes out. We're going to see a root. Poppy moving forward. Tensive not able to find anything. So the Herald charge into the tier 1. Gets first brick for the side of the Panthers. They are still a little bit behind in gold, though, here, Shinkari. They're down 4 kills. And CS very much in favor of that Aphelios. You were saying that it's a little bit of a struggle for him. His support is securing all the kills, but
yeah,
he's killing a lot of minions. So still doing all right. Has the Gale Force completed.
Yeah, I usually like to put the 2, if they see a Relic Shield, then I like to add the 2 together. So it's close. He's more closer to 100 right now in terms of CS is Tensive.
Tensive's going to find the charge into the wall, throws out the Keeper's Verdict, but Rune Weaver has a shield, and Poppy by herself doesn't have enough damage. Aphelios not following up there on the play from his jungler means that Rune Weaver is going to be able to walk that one out.
Yeah, as now this is looking pretty good right now for the Badgers one more time. Poor Man's Rose might be in some trouble, but I'm loving this from Bigos right here. Bought the mobility boots and is showing Jensen how to be the roaming support. You know, we've seen Jensen roam around.
Oh, the Gale Force in. Jonko, he has red-white guns, but it's not enough. The Piltover Peacemaker finishes him off. And Define Me with his own Gale Force completed, able to secure that kill. And now, underneath the turret goes Camp the Bush, but Wukong is here. He's got the Cyclone, easy secure onto the mid laner, though, but it gets traded back as Tensive is able to finish off the dive, able to kill off the Oriana there. So 1 for 1 in the bot lane. Define Me in some trouble now. Bigos fed on the Rakan, but still not fed enough to do enough damage to the Caitlyn, committing the Ignite there as well. Now the flash in, and it's gonna be Tensive finishing the job. Ignite back onto the Rakan, but he's easily able to escape. This game is pretty crazy.
Yeah, this game is nuts. The amount of times we've just seen Tensive walk into a lane, start off a gank with a good stun, and then just kind of walk away is now Jonko on a crawl.
That's a lot of damage. They sure are, and Jonko, yeah, more than enough to take out the monkey. Animosity. Oh, he's trying to protect the sweet spots, but he can't do it. Poor Man's Rose had more than enough in the tank to get that kill. Didn't even need the Ignite for that one. It's coming off cooldown now. And the Badgers are continuing to outfight their opponents. They lost the first turret. The Caitlyn is extremely strong, but besides that, things really do seem to be coming up in favor of the Badgers. Vigo's an absolute terror on this Rakan.
Jonko just has to be careful about this gun placement right here. He's gonna have to give up that white gun in order to make sure he doesn't mess with the ordering of the guns here, so that the next time that red gun rolls around, the white gun is the one next. As in the top lane, Fiora is going to be able to secure that turret, so that's going to be their first turret being picked up here for the red team here. As Big Ghost continues to just run around this map as much as possible.
Looks like we're going to have another fight around the dragon, Shinkari. It's been started up by the Panthers, but the crab secured by the Badgers. Tensive doesn't have the X-Flash available quite yet. Going to want to throw out the Keeper's Verdict. Not able to hit anybody, though, and Dragon already secured. Now, Big goes into the back line with the quickness. Not able to get any follow-up on that one, though. A lot of damage onto the Orianna. Ace in the hole comes out as well. Wukong able to escape over the back of the wall with the Warrior Trickster, and it will be the Unleashed Power taking out the Orianna, the only casualty of that fight, besides the Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little slow on the response there from Tensive there. The idea was to throw out the Poppy ultimate, not crawl away from the Dragon, and just come in for the steal there, giving them that one Hex Tech Drake and getting them closer to that thing there. But now Jonko's in some trouble. He might actually be able to kill Crawl, and now Animosity's in some trouble.
Yeah, gets himself out of danger there. The instincts kicking in for Jonko. And the monkey will be punished there for going for that play. Crawl goes down.
Yep. As meanwhile in the bot lane, Camp That Bush has been really good at securing these side waves. I feel like the Syndra is just doing her best Tryndamere impression right now with all these split pushing that the Syndra has been doing in the side waves. Poor man's Rose looking for Animosity.
Yeah, they found him too. The Ignite is available for this one and made that look real easy. Bigos continuing to terrorize the entire map on this Rakan. He is everywhere, knocking people up, getting them killed. Really well done by that support for 1 and 8. Even has a stopwatch in the inventory there. We can continue to play aggressively, as poor man's Rose is doing. And we're going to get the charge into the wall from Tensive. Forces out the Cyclone there. We're just getting that cooldown for free. Feels pretty good.
Yeah, that's an important ultimate, too. I think Tensive could just go over to Rift Herald right now, and they have the numbers advantage. They have the ultimates advantage as well. Like, it's going to be really hard to actively contest this Rift Herald right now. So I think this is a really good start. Fiora's starting it up here. This is a really good take for them right here. And it's going to deny another objective bounty from the blue squad here. And I think that's also important, right? They're down 5,000 gold to kind of need these objective bounties here in order to get back into this game. And this is a big objective to take as well, because it means that you can start securing these turrets with the plates finally down here. But, it's hard for them to push anywhere because Tensive and Bigos have just been roaming around the map so quickly that if they venture too far out and Tensive and Bigos are nearby, it's going to be a whole lot of trouble.
Oh, that was pretty nasty from the Syndra. Just able to zero out the enemy mid, just flashing in, landing the stun, just takes him out with the outplay button there. And now he was right next to his AD carry, too, and there's nothing that You Define Me could do. Crawl burns down in the jungle. Jonko oh my god, they're just taking names. The Badgers just absolutely devouring the Panthers here. Not necessarily, I think, how it would work in the real Animal Kingdom, but here on Summoner's Rift, the Badgers absolutely are the apex predator.
Yes, correct. I mean, the Syndra must have a million stacks at this point. I want to take a look. 87. So this means that her Scatter the Weak now has a much bigger slow. It's 70%, and also the cone is a lot larger now. Important to note as well, I didn't mention this when we hit that breakpoint, but after 60 stacks, that Syndra now has true damage added onto her toss ability, her W, which is why that looked like so much damage that we were able to throw down 2 orbs, immediately slam it down, and then you have to deal with true damage, which is actually insanely good against this team. The best way to counter true damage is with health. And look at how many folks are stacking HP. Okay, well, not so much to talk about there, huh?
Yeah, that's death cap completed for camp. Plus Nice number of stacks on that ring that he's got there. I imagine
Yep.
that's going to be turning into a book pretty soon.
The ring to book pipeline is actually pretty. Oh no.
Oh, that was so gross. Oh, my
no.
word.
I feel
The quickness
dirty. I'm
locks up
gonna need a
everybody
shower
else,
after
too.
that one.
Oh, the charge doesn't go into the wall. I don't think it matters. Oh, the damage is so nutty from the Syndra. Oh, they just delete them. They just delete all of them. The ace in the hole, the stopwatch. Big O's denies the counter kill. Tensive ready to go with that Hex Flash again. He's going to be coming on in here. Poor man's Rose is taking the bot lane with the Rift Herald, and man, this game was really close until it really wasn't.
Yeah, I have a question for you, crewman. What do you think a poor man's rose is?
What
do you think it's like a
poor
tulip?
man's rose?
Do you think it's like a tulip? Do you think it's like a chrysanthemum?
Maybe it's like not even a flower. Maybe it's like a bar of chocolate or something.
Ooh,
like a Hershey's bar.
Like John
you
can't
can't
even
even
kill, by the way.
He sure did. Yeah.
Poor
Poor man's Rose might die
actually...
here. Oh, he's got a bunch of healing. He's going for the 1v3. He can't find it. The shutdown comes through as Crawl does get one back, and not quite able to find the inhibitor there either. It was the chocolate bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably safe to say. Like some nice chocolate, a poor man's rose.
Yeah, I mean he's a poor man though, so it's probably not that nice of chocolate. I mean, I mean,
you can get some. I mean, it's definitely more than like a Hershey's bar, you know.
Okay.
Maybe it's like some Ghirardelli. Like they're. It's not like you're going out and getting like, oh, this is black truffle chocolate.
So what is like the flower equivalent of a Hershey's bar then? Like a dandelion?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That makes sense.
Dandelion, maybe a daisy, maybe some daisies.
All right. All right. Daffodil.
Daffodil, yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same
it's
page
like,
here.
It's nice to get some flowers, but it's like, you know.
Yeah, but it's like like, does it even count as a flower at that point? You could make maybe a similar argument for Hershey's, where it's like, is it even really chocolate? It's mostly just sugar, right?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, but it's still nice. It's still nice to get a chocolate bar.
Yeah. Like you'll still eat the Hershey's bar. You know, you'll blow the things off. Okay, hang on now.
Okay, well, oh my god.
Maybe there's actually not anything to talk about here. Oh, Syndra is gonna die. The stacks are gone. Shutdown comes through. It's going on to the Karma. Tensive looking for more though. He's not deterred. Maybe he should be. There is a teleport coming down. It's gonna be Orianna. Oh no, it's Aatrox actually joining the fray. And the Poppy is all out of friends. He's got an Aphelios over there, actually, and he didn't need any friends. Oh, my God. He's looking for two. Oh, my God. Tensive. He flashes forward. He gets the double kill. Animosity can't do a single thing about it. He gets completely destroyed. Finished the Eclipse. Didn't matter.
He's still alive.
And the BM dance at the end.
Oh, my
Tensive,
gosh.
out of his mind. 7-1-7 on the Poppy. My God.
Yeah. Holy moly. He's just going over to Baron now. Why not? Why not? Your team needs Smite.
Poor man's Rose.
Who needs it?
Maybe like a sunflower or whatever we said, but Tensive is some nice Ghirardelli for sure.
Yeah.
It's exquisite on the Poppy there. It's going to be Baron. There's nothing they can do about it. Oh, that's a teleport. Is that a good teleport or a bad teleport? Let's find out. Ooh. It was a bad teleport. But he does get one kill. Define me. Gale Force in. Can't find anybody else. Just the one kill onto the Poppy. Two more, both carries there going down on the side of the Panthers. And I have to feel that the Nexus is going to get closed in on very, very soon. Back stopped there. Karma will be able to escape. But this game, it's not close at all at this point. And that's why we've been talking about flowers and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we've gotten to the point where, like, you know in game number 1 I said 10,000 gold, it will take a comedy of errors in order to come back from it. We're at 13,000 now is the difference between these two teams, and that is that is like, insurmountable.
We're gonna need more than one comedy at this point. Okay, well, that's a Cyclone onto everybody pretty much, but Aatrox is already dead. He got like half shot. But that's a shutdown onto the Aphelios, and Big O's is slated to fall here as well. The trap comes down. That's another shutdown for Define Me on the Caitlyn. So that's a reasonably significant thing that just happened.
Yeah, I agree. Tensive, looking for Jensen, though. Not going to be able to find him.
Yeah, Jensen will flash away on the Karma, keep himself safe for now. And it's only the one inhibitor that's actually been destroyed. The bot lane inhibitor is exposed, so that should be pretty easy pickings once all the Badgers are alive again. They should be able to make that one happen pretty easily. But the top tier 2 actually is the target for now. Looks like they're going to be able to get... Oh, it's barely hanging on. There it goes. Yeah. 600 more gold for Syndra. And she has another rod in the inventory there, as well as 1,800 gold. That's a Shadow Flame. Okay, 3 items for Syndra, and she is going to be level 16 pretty soon as well. And
she needs to either level up or hit 5 cannon minions.
Goodbye.
But animosity.
Goodbye.
Oh, no.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing he can do.
Yep. Syndra is almost at that 120 mark, at which point she gains plus 15% AP. She did hit that 100 mark, so now she's going to execute anyone below 15% HP when she uses her ultimate.
Wait, did she not have that before?
No.
Oh, I see. Well,
when she uses her ultimate, anyone below 15% HP, now that she has 100 stacks, that would be able to execute anyone if she hits them with it.
Okay, charge into the wall. He's fine for now, because Syndra wasn't there to one-shot him. So that's why he's still alive. But he is alive. Syndra's looking for that bot inhibitor instead. So that was the priority. They're going to go ahead and pick that one up. 2 inhibitors now. Claimed by the Badgers.
Answer this. There's 2
oh, yeah, I mean, they're on the Nexus Towers.
629 AP right now.
That's a lot of AP. Well, okay, he's
gone.
gone. He's just gone. But the Cyclone is good. They're going to get the AD carry, and now Syndra's all alone, and she already used her ultimate. So this is looking really, really good. The stun as she goes down, though, even in death. Camp that bush, makes sure that he secures... Okay, hang on, though. Now, though, actually, Tensive is all by himself. Yora's not here. She's deciding to prioritize destroying more structures instead of rotating over the fight. So she will make the triple inhibitor a reality for the Badgers. They secured all 3 inhibitors. That Nexus Tower, that lower Nexus Tower, looks like it might go down to some super minions at some point here if the wave clear isn't good enough. But it will stand for now. And it's we're just going to play for the Mountain Soul point right after Runeweaver flashes away to keep himself... Oh, I actually didn't have to flash. It was the flash forward for 4-mans. And he will eventually find 1 kill. Can he get 2? He can't quite get 2. Crawl makes his way out. Shutdown comes through. Jensen picks it up. So that is going to be now a 4v4 on the map, as we do have the second Mountain Dragon alive. But with 3 inhibitors down, really not realistic to expect the side of the Panthers to be doing anything other than clearing waves of minions in their base for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is now double super minion waves are going to be pushing into their base here, and we can already see them marching down the lanes here. I feel like a lot of the things that they're picking up right now are just kind of consolation prizes as they're waiting for Poor Man's Rose to return to the map here. They're going to pick up the Earth Drake. They're going to clear out the jungle as much as they can and camp that push. He's going to find Animosity here.
Was it worth it, Animosity? He got the blue buff. He did get the blue buff. Maybe it was worth it. I don't know. I mean, he wasn't doing much else, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, really the only thing to do is just to protect against the super minion wave.
Is that another kill? Oh, it sure is. Yes, goodbye, Wukong. And here comes Bigos, not quite able to find the charm. Flashes into the fountain to charm somebody, which he was able to accomplish. But really, it's all about Syndra. You see Camp just popping off from the top side of the fountain there. Just absolutely killing everybody. Didn't land that last scatter. Looking for style points at this point. Bigos is going to die to a fountain laser, just for fun. And that ball almost got a kill back for the Orianna, but wasn't able to find it in the end. Camp that bush surviving on 1 HP. The Nexus will not be so lucky, and it will be an absolute demolition tonight as the Badgers claw out those eyeballs from the Panthers. Just absolutely dominated them in this 3rd game. Honestly, I'm wondering if the Panthers wish they hadn't played it.
I mean, that's debatable. I think that's debatable for whatever. But yeah, I mean, this was a really good series for sure. I think this last game was the only one where I was like, man, this is the worst showing from the Panthers.
It was close in the early game, to be fair. Yeah. Yes, they kept it close for like 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes, I agree. I think that game number 3 And it also stinks when that what is going on? You talk for a bit. I need to fix the
Okay.
scoreboard for some reason.
I'll talk for
What
a
is
bit.
going
That's
on
fine.
here?
I'm pretty okay with that. That is the reason I'm here after all. Taking a look at the damage charts after the game, I'm sure nobody will be surprised to hear that Camp That Bush was right there at the top. 34,500 damage. Second highest was his 80 carry, the Aphelios, sitting at just under 26k. So,
Hmm.
Camp That Bush in first place there by a very healthy margin. Tensive with another great game from the jungle, 7-3 and 10 on the Poppy. Everywhere on the map alongside his support, just making these plays happen, making sure that none of the lanes from the Panthers could get played out how they clearly wanted to play them out. So that was just a little bit of a jungle gap from my eyes. Tensive just making all those plays happen, including that fight. I mean,
Yeah.
the game, like after the game was kind of already over, where he was like 1v4 in the top lane, and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
flashed in and got 2 kills, or like almost got a double kill. Pretty wild stuff from him once again. Poor man's Rose. I think the Fiora maybe not quite as convincing as the Tryndamere was, but
Yeah.
certainly a strong performance from him up there again as well. Is
Yeah,
it all
for sure.
good,
I mean,
Shankar?
yeah, yeah, we're all settled up.
All
For
right,
some
okay, good.
reason, the scores on screen was 3-2, and I'm like, that is not even remotely close.
Mhm.
So let's do this again. But I think the big thing for me is a couple things. Both of these teams are relatively new, right? The Panthers are a new organization. They just formed together. A lot of them are Master Tiers players. So this is still some learning from them here. They're still looking to grow here, and I still think that they had some good moments. They had a lot of good
Absolutely.
coordination. They have a style, and they have a style that they like to play, and they were definitely trying their best to execute it on it in the first couple of games for sure, right?
Yeah,
Especially with the Bard, with a lot of other things as well. So this has been a really good game uh, from the Panthers to learn from. I mean, it's upsetting to walk into this game. It's like, yeah, we're undefeated. These folks haven't played yet. Like, we're looking to be really good. Like, they're only 1 seed above us. This should be very equal. And then you're walking out of this, 0-3. It's not going to be the best time around, but it's still a lot to learn from, and you still have a lot more time to grow within style esports and still learn the meta of kind of like playing around a lot of the stuff in styling sports as well.
definitely the case, Shinkari. Great call outs there. And I always love that, right? When a team has a specific style, a specific way that they like to play the game, they're all on the same page, and they're just like all in on refining that style and mastering it. And we've seen other style teams really exemplify that really, really strongly as well. We've seen teams with Caitlyn lanes where they just roam the entire map, take every turret plate, and dominate early. That we've got our style teams that are like masters in team fighting and are really strong in that regard. And as you said, the Panthers are a young squad. They're clearly very hungry. They have that drive. They have that way that they like to play the game, and they're clearly very good at it, as evidenced by all the wins that they'd picked up previously. But the Badgers, were more than equal to the task tonight. They showed up here for their first style match of the season, and they were ready to go. So I mean, really props to them. It was a great showing from the Panthers as well, and I'm sure as long as they hang on to that hunger, that drive, that we'll see more great things from them in the future as well. But tonight, all about the Badgers, and they really put up a strong showing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't have anything else to add. This was a good series to cast. It was a lot of whole lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from both of these teams as the season progresses and we get closer to that playoff.
Absolutely. A pleasure to be joining you once again here, Shankari. Always nice to get on the desk together. And, one more time, great showings from both of these teams. Obviously the Panthers, things didn't go the way that they wanted tonight, but they definitely had some great moments in there and lots of things to learn from for sure. Plenty of tape to watch, plenty of things for them to take a look at. But that is going to do it from us tonight. I'm not quite sure when the next style stream is going to be, but I know we've been able to get these out pretty regularly, as of recent weeks. So I'm expecting that to continue. I imagine we'll have another matchup for you all in the coming days. But for tonight, from myself, from Shinkari, from the entire production team at Style Esports, thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate you, and we hope to see you again real soon as season 13 continues. We're moving into week 6. That's going to do it from us tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Good night.